What is going on, YouTube? It's your girl Easy Breezy, and I posted on my community section on my channel a couple days ago, what hair color should I do? Orange, red, or black with platinum blonde highlights? And y'all have spoken, okay? I got the most votes on the orange hair, so here we are. So this unit is actually from GalaxyGirlHair.com, and I did some custom roots on here, and the orange, as you can see. So yes, you guys, and it came out really, really cute. Like, it's funny how I posted that, poll, and I was hoping that y'all were gonna say red. I was hoping that y'all were gonna say red, but as time went on and people were voting, orange won. So I'm just like, you know what? Maybe it'll look nice. Maybe I'll like it, and I really, really do like it. So thank you guys so much for voting. And in this video, I want to get into a story time. All right. Now, in my opinion, this story time is long overdue, because I just had to process my emotions about this situation. But, you know, the objectivity about the story has been the same since day one. It's just now when I talk about it, it doesn't hurt as bad. But I really want to get into this very long overdue story time of when I was in a narcissistic abusive relationship, abusive emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually, and how I signed up for a polyamorous relationship with this narcissist. Okay? As you can see by the title, it was a polyamorous fail. Okay? Now, so once again, before we get into this story time, y'all, I'm so glad that y'all chose this orange because it's definitely giving, and I added the orange liner, as you can see. Okay, so yeah, and if you guys, want to give me your opinions, your commentary, where you feel like I made mistakes, please let me know. I'm definitely not immune to constructive criticism. But yeah, so I've known this person since high school, right? Now, we never got like into a relationship, or we never liked each other in high school, but this person used to call me cute little nicknames because we had one of the same classes together. Called me cute little nicknames, and we were kind of just very fond of each other. We respected each other, but I didn't know him on a romantic level, right? Now, in high school, we both won the superlative for most talented. So we ended up taking yearbook pictures together. We ended up basically our pictures being in our yearbook, for our high school. And so I was proud of that. I'm pretty sure he was proud of that. He won prom king that year, and it was just whatever. Hey, Fantasy Hair Factory TV. Thank you. So, you know what? Another reason why I want to talk about this, because a few people tried to silence me from talking about this. People tried to fearmonger me and out of talking about this. People tried to victim blame me and tell me that I was a liar. And that I was just playing victim or whatever. And so many people try to get me to not say this, you know? I mean, not like an abundance of people, but just a few people tried to stop me from talking about this. And I didn't talk about it for a minute, but I knew that I was going to talk about it one day when I was comfortable. And I'm also speaking out about my experience because being manipulated in a relationship happens so subtly. It happens in very micro-sized doses, and you don't realize that you are being manipulated until you have completely taken yourself out the situation. And then when you look back, you realize, oh, that person said that because he wanted this outcome, or he did that because of this, or, you know what I'm saying? Like certain things, certain, tactics that were used to manipulate you, right? So when you are telling someone about your experience, or you're telling someone how you were with a narcissist or whatever, and you're explaining the story, a lot of people don't get it. A lot of people don't get it. And it's crazy because a lot of women experience this narcissistic abuse, but they still don't like acknowledge it. Or like, it's crazy. Like, they'll still protect men that they know are abusive, or they'll protect men just because they have a good relationship with them. And it's like, oh, well, he didn't do anything to me, or I can't see him doing anything like that. Are you sure he did that to you? So I'm doing this live to basically let all of my women know that I'm on your team. I support you. And I understand what narcissistic abuse looks like. I understand the very small details. The things that people will say, well, I don't know if he meant it that way. Well, I don't know. Maybe you took it wrong. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. And for the women who have been silenced from talking about their experience with certain people, I'm not gonna necessarily encourage you to speak out because, I don't know, some women may feel shame. Some women may be accused of lying or whatever the case may be, or exaggerating. So you don't necessarily have to put yourself in the way of facing that possible scrutiny, but I am letting you know that I understand you. I'm with you. I'm on your team. And I understand that when you make it out of a relationship without any black eyes or any scars, it's hard to convince people that you were abused. It's hard to convince people that this guy that they love so much, right, with all this charisma and all this, all this masking, it's hard to believe that someone, that people admire would exude that behavior. But listen, I literally went against my old type, right? I went against my, hood ninja type. I went against that hard whatever type, and I chose a guy that I felt like was kind of like a stand-up guy. Like, he dressed clean, he wasn't like, selling drugs or, like doing like in the streets and stuff like that. So I chose the good guy prototype. I chose the good guy prototype, and I was still abused. So at the end of the day, when they say, girls go for the hood guys and they get abused and they're shocked that they got abused. Well, I got abused by a guy that looks like he could be your manager. I got abused by a guy that looked like he can work in corporate. I got abused by a guy that looks like he could be a real estate agent. All right? So it was way beyond the looks. It was way beyond the looks. So once again, me and this guy, we're friends in high school. We both won the superlative most talented for the yearbook. And after we graduated and moved on, he ended up going to college, and I ended up going straight into doing hair and, doing my creative career, right? So years later, I'm just scrolling through Instagram and I see him online, and he's looking real cleaned up, he's looking real good. And this is like my homeboy. This is my, my most talented, my little twin, you know what I'm saying? So I shout him out on my page randomly because it's just how I do. Like, I like shouting people out. I like supporting people. Like, I just be doing that, right? So I shouted him out on my Instagram, and I was like, this is the guy that I won most talented with in high school, and I'm so proud of him. He's doing his thing, blah blah blah. And I don't even remember him commenting on that post. Honestly, I really don't. But that was just the beginning of me admiring, his persona, right? Or who I felt like he was becoming, like this humanitarian type guy, this motivational speaker, just this person that was just like, trying to heal humanity and, give good advice online and self-help advice and stuff like that. And I really, I really liked that. I gravitated toward that. Now, ironically, right? And the universe really does put people in our lives to teach us certain lessons. And when things align, they just align. So probably like, I don't even know, maybe less than 3 months of me giving him that shout out, I ran across him on Edgewood. And this is like totally random because, we weren't expecting to see each other. We haven't saw each other in a whole decade. But when I saw him, I had that perception of him that I seen online. Like, that stand-up guy, that guy that's on his purpose. He's walking in his purpose, and when I saw him, I was just so happy to see him. Like, oh my God, how you been? I was touching his hair. I was like, oh my God, you look so good. What did I? And so after that night, we didn't communicate no more, right? So he didn't message me or nothing on Instagram. He didn't try to reconnect with me or nothing. So I was just like, whatever. It was just nice to see him. So that, I think it was maybe that night or whatever, that same night, my homegirl ended up saying, I think you like him. She's like, I think you like him. I'm gonna set y'all up on a blind date. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, what? She's like, yeah, I'm gonna set y'all up on a blind date. And I'm gonna tell him to come to our mutual homegirl's birthday party because we were supposed to go to an event. And I was like, okay, like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. So that night of my friend's birthday party, she actually invited him and he showed up. Now, of course, I'm already anticipating this, because he just had me enamored. I love a guy on his purpose, or seemingly on his purpose. Because now that I think about it, this nigga wasn't on shit. Anyway, but it seemed like he was on his purpose or whatever. So, I was feeling that. So when he came, he was just looking so oiled up and looking like smelling good. And he had this long Africa pendant chain, which I loved. Y'all know I love the culture. I live for the culture. Okay. So he had his little, bracelets on and stuff like that. And he just looked so good or whatever. So we saw each other and we both just lit up. Like our I don't know, chemistry was on 1,000 from the first moment, right? So, we're talking, we're catching up. And mind you, we haven't caught up since high school. So this is a whole decade of reconnecting with this guy. So we're talking, I'm telling him about my life. He's telling me about his life. We end up going to an after hour spot. We were dancing together. We even, shared a first kiss that night. And it was just instant chemistry, right? And I felt like this was divine because for that whole year, prior, I was writing in my journals about manifesting a relationship, manifesting my husband. I was very much focused on manifesting a man and manifesting a good man and manifesting my husband or whatever. And I just remember adding those sentences to my affirmations and adding those sentences to my journals and stuff. Now, looking back at that, I wasn't, I guess I just didn't, I don't know. That's just what I desired at that time in my life. I was living in my apartment for about a year, maybe 2 years by myself. I just wanted companionship. I just wanted someone there. Like, I wanted to have another relationship. And I was already, kind of heartbroken from my previous breakup that I was, finally healing from or whatever. And I just wanted some new energy. I just wanted someone new, right? So with all this chemistry booming, right? All these fireworks booming, I thought instantly like, oh my gosh, this is what I manifested. Like, this is what I was praying about. This is what I was writing about. This is what I was, saying in my affirmations. Like, this has to be it because I have that feeling. And seemingly there were certain signs that was indicating that I was in the right place, right? Or I was on the right journey or on the right path or whatever. Like, so many different confirmations. It was so weird. Like, that's why that's one reason I felt like I fought for the relationship so hard, because there were so many divine confirmations that I tried to fight for the relationship because I just knew that this was it. I have to accept this person for how they are. I have to keep working with this person. I have to, stay strong or whatever, no matter, how much I'm, suffering in this relationship, because seemingly, there were so many divine confirmations, right? Now, the first red flag that I peeped in this whole ordeal was probably me. After a week of us dating, we were on top of this mountain where we used to hike, and we were just connecting on such a deep level that I told him that I loved him. Well, it didn't go exactly like that. He was saying like something like, I just feel so deeply for you, and sometimes I just feel like, and I was like, you love me? And he was like, yeah, I do. And we both started laughing. And I was like, I love you too. So that was only after 7 days. 7 days. So, it became like a theme in our relationship that, oh my gosh, we just fell in love so quick. This, God, or the universe, God, brought us together, and, we just got together, and, we're just whatever, like whatever we thought, whatever the illusion was, we believed it, and we were going with it, because we felt so strongly for each other. So we were in an official relationship after 7 days. Okay. Now, one thing that I can say is the reason why I felt so comfortable doing this is because of the nostalgia. I've already known him. I've known him in high school. I kind of been like, not checking up on him, but like I would see him from time to time online or whatever. So, it was kind of just like an old friend coming back, right? Hey, Tanisha. I like the ginger hair color. Looks fire. Thank you, girl. So now we're just like in it. We're in a full-blown relationship, right? And I'm happy. He's happy. I'm like, hey, I love this, whatever. So the first red flag came when only 3 weeks later, okay? 3 weeks later, we go to Chipotle. And at this time, Chipotle was like the only restaurant that was still requiring people to wear a mask. So before we got out the car, I was like, hey, do you have a mask in your car? Because I think Chipotle still makes people wear a mask. And yeah. He was like, yeah, I got a mask. And I was like, do you have another one for me? And he was like, yeah, I got one for you. So he brought two masks out, right? And then um, he was like, you don't have a mask? Like, you don't carry a mask? And I was like, I mean, not no more. Like, it was literally like the end of COVID. You know what I'm saying? People weren't wearing masks anymore. So I was like, no, like I did, but I don't wear them anymore. And he was like, well, what if I get sick? What if I get sick? You could get me sick or whatever. And I'm just thinking in my head, like, I mean, that could be true, but like I haven't seen this guy wear a mask the whole 3 weeks we were dating. And mind you, we were going out to bars, we were going out to clubs, we was hanging out all over the city, all over the goddamn city. So I'm just like, okay, like, telling me that I could get you sick is kind of weird because I could say the same thing about you, but whatever. So I didn't say nothing at that time, right? So we go in Chipotle, get the food, come back out, and it's still kind of on my mind a little bit because I'm like, if this guy gets sick or gets a cold or something like that, like I want you to know that, it was your decision to not wear a mask at like 8 different clubs that we've been to. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want you to just look at me like, oh, shit got me sick. So, I was like, once we got in the car, I was like, and I literally said it just like this, real playful, real, chill. I was like, how you gonna tell me to wear a mask or whatever and that I can get you sick, but you ain't wear a mask this whole time? And he was like, what you mean? Da, 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 like all like getting mad like immediately. And I'm just like, I'm thinking that this is about to be like a friendly back and forth. You know what I'm saying? Like something friendly, like, like what you mean? Or, what I'm saying? It's just something that we can both laugh at. But this guy was getting angry, right? What you mean? Da 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 da. I'm just saying you could get me sick and da da da. And I'm like, but I said you ain't wearing a mask this whole time. Like I've been around you for 3 weeks and we've been seeing each other like literally almost every day. We were like stuck at the hip. I'm like, I ain't see you wearing masks this whole time. You know what I'm saying? So how you gonna tell me I can get you sick? And he was getting mad, like 0 to 100, right? Then he started saying like some random, like stuff that didn't make any sense. Like, well, going to the club or going to a grocery store or a restaurant is more dangerous than going to the club without a mask. And da da da, like saying all this stuff. And I'm just like y'all, literally, I felt like I was in a Twilight Zone. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what is happening right now? Like, what? So, like, the more he's getting mad and worked up, the more he's like yelling, like getting louder. And I'm over here like really like annoyed because I'm just like, first of all, why are you this angry? You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you this angry? Like, is it because you look dumb right now? Like, when you could have easily said, like, yeah, you're right, my bad. I ain't been wearing no mask, but, I need to get better at it. Or, you could have said anything, but you were deflecting. You were, like, saying stuff that didn't make any sense. And he was, like, yelling. So, me, I don't know this man. Like, that's the first moment I realized that I really don't know him. Like, I thought I knew him because we knew each other in high school, but seeing him, go from 0 to 100 like this, it was just like, oh, what the fuck? So I was like, yo, I said, let me out the car. Let me out the car. And he was like, no, I'm going to drop you home. I was like, no, I said, let me out the car. So he stopped the car and I got out at a random neighborhood and I walked to a park in the neighborhood that was like in the front of the neighborhood, and I sat down on a bench like under this pavilion, and I was calling me an Uber because I don't know what is wrong with you. I don't know what's wrong with you, but I'm straight. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna be in no car with no man that I'm now realizing that I barely know, and you got this angry at me just because I said, how you gonna tell me not to wear a mask and I haven't seen you wear a mask this whole time? Something that was supposed to be innocent, you know what I'm saying? Like something that was supposed to be like a friendly back and forth, you like literally took it to the moon. So I got out the car, walked to the park, and I was sitting there like calling my Uber. Y'all, this guy came out his car and was still yelling. Why'd you get out the car? That's disrespectful. Let me take you home. Get back in the car. Get back in the car. And I'm looking at him in disbelief. I'm just like, bruh, this can't be happening, right? I'm just like, no, like, the fuck, no. And he's like, get back in the car, like, that's disrespectful. Then he was like pacing to his car, pacing back to me, would tell me to get back in the car, and I would be like, no. And then he would like pace back to the car like a little kid. And like, I was like, yo, this cannot be happening. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally, this cannot be happening. So he comes back up to me, right? And he's like trying to talk to me all calm, right? Or as calm as he can be. And he's like, just get back in the car, da-da-da. And I'm like I shooed him away. I was like, get out my face. I was like, no. And went off again, right? So finally, right, after like a couple minutes, he was convincing me to get back in the car. And I'm just thinking in my head, like, this is crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I finally agreed to get back in the car. Hey, Nana. I get back in the car, and the whole ride back to my house was totally silent, dead. Because in my mind, I'm literally thinking, who is he? You know what I'm saying? Who is he? Hey, Kelly. Easy explanation. Human design. You're an emotional projector. He was amplifying your energy. Whew, crazy. So yeah. So we get back in the car, we're driving home, and I'm just like thinking in my head, like, what the heck? You know what I'm saying? So, so trying to work through that situation, right? Trying to talk to him about that situation and how he kind of took it to a new, like a level that it didn't need to be at. He didn't understand why his response was dramatic, or why him getting that angry or that loud was dramatic. Like, he couldn't understand why that was dramatic. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that it's wrong for people to, I don't know, get angry, but like in a situation like that, it was just totally uncalled for, right? So since that moment, we never truly got to the bottom of that situation. There was nothing. There was no resolution. There was no nothing. So that was kind of like a broken foundation for the rest of their relationship, honestly. Because every time we tried to go back to that moment and try to talk about that moment, it was always a sore spot. It was always like, just him deflecting about how I was coming for him or how I was doing this and doing that. And it was like, I think that like you're just insecure about me telling you that you didn't have a mask on this whole time. So it's like, if you're ashamed about that, just say that. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't calling you out. I was just, whatever. Whatever. Dang, I missed a story. No, I just started. Girl, I'm just getting started. Okay, period. Okay, so another red flag that I just realized, as the relationship progressed, is it was the constant anger issues. It was the 0 to 100. You know what I'm saying? Like, nothing could be resolved with a conversation. Nothing could be resolved peacefully. It was always just 0 to 100, literally, right? Now, what I really should have made notes, because I do have notes, because I didn't want to forget any points. But one thing that I do remember is the fact that he was telling me that he was like comparing our journeys, right? He was saying, yeah, if I never went to college, if I never, went to school after, I could have been where you are, and I could have been, successful already or whatever. And I used to tell him, like, you know, why are you even talking like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, your journey is perfect the way it is. You know, if you would have pursued your singing career when you were, you know, 12, 14 years old, you know, you would have been a child star, and it probably would have been harder for you to rebrand yourself as an adult artist, you know, and being taken more serious on a serious level. Because, you know, when you transition from like a child star to an adult star, it's like this weird transition where you have to like kind of nurture your audience, like, this is the new me. You know. So I was just trying to encourage him, like, you're on the right path, you know, whatever. And he used to just always be like, well, you know, I just could have been further if I would have did what you did. I never went to college and blah blah blah. So I used to always think in my head, like, why is he so insecure about this? Like, I'm not no millionaire. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just doing what I do. Like, you know, I still have many other goals to reach and many other pinnacles to reach. Why are you so focused on being compared to me? Or, like, you know what I'm saying? So from that moment, I realized that he was very insecure about himself and where he was in his life, right? Another thing that I realized, or that I took account for, noticed, whatever, is he told me that, you know, he was watching me all this time, and he was watching me level up, and he was watching me on my journey, and how proud of me he was and stuff like that. And, you know, I'm just like, oh, you know, thank you, da, da, da. And I remember thinking in my head, like, and mind you, this is all very subjective, right? This is just my perception. So you may have a different perception about this or whatever. But in my head, I was thinking, he's never supported me. He's never like hit me up like, hey sis, I see what you got going on. Keep going. You know, nothing. And we were supposed to be like partners in high school. You know, we both ran for prom king and queen together. We both won most talented together. I thought we had that thing. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, yeah, I've been watching you all these years, and I've been watching you level up. And I'm just thinking in my head, like, how come he's never like contacted me? How come you never like liked a post? You know what I'm saying? You never reposted me or nothing. And the only reason why I say that is because I supported him. I reposted him and was like, hey guys, you know, follow, you know, so-and-so. This is who I won most talented with. He's doing his thing and blah, blah, blah. And it just like I just thought in my head, like, it just gave ghost follower. It gave monitoring spirit. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I just didn't think that he would see me in a way where it's like, you were too ashamed to congratulate me or to reach out to me, because I wasn't ashamed to do it to you, do it for you. You know what I'm saying? But whatever. Take that and do what you want with it. I don't know. But I thought that was weird. You know, and now that, you know, he was like comparing our careers and our journeys, it made me think of that even more. So there were times in the relationship where he was just super controlling, trying to control what I wore, trying to control what I posted, and like trying to stop me from doing certain things, right? So in the beginning of him, you know, telling me that, like, he would tell me, if you want to make a song, or if you want to, you know, start making music, I can help you, right? I never once told him that I wanted him to help me with music or help me do music. That was his suggestion. You know, who do you want to sound like? You know, I'll help you write some music. I'll help you find some beats or whatever. So in the beginning, you know, we used to do that together. We used to listen to beats together. He used to come up with melodies and stuff like that. And we used to just like freestyle. Well, he used to freestyle. We used to just have fun, you know? And he was like alluding to the fact, or alluding to this idea, that he would be my manager and he would help me and stuff like that. And it was kind of like interesting to me, because I'm not the artist. You know, he was the artist between the two of us. So it kind of just made me think, you know, well, maybe it's not a cop-out, you know? One thing that I wanted him to do was chase his dream. You know, be who you're supposed to be. You know, I know that it's easier to help someone else than it is to help yourself. So it's easier to say, for an artist that gave up on themselves, to say, you know, I'll help you be an artist. It's like, no, like you still got some juice in you. You know what I'm saying? You still got some youth in you, you know? So even though he would talk about helping me, you know, I would still like encourage him to, you know, for him to do his music and blah blah blah, because I wasn't pressed on being an artist, you know, like I do other things. So one thing that he told me that was another red flag was he was like, yeah, every girlfriend that I, or every girl that I talk to, whatever, she always ends up just becoming an artist or wanting to be an artist, alluding to the fact that when girls are around him, they like soak up his energy or they try to copy him or something like that, right? Mind you, the exact words were, every time I talk to a girl, all of a sudden she wants to become an artist. That's the moment I realized, okay, so basically the same way he just offered, the same way he just offered to do something for me, he's now making it seem like people beg him for it, right? So in my mind, now mind you, I didn't say nothing out loud to him. This is just all in my mind. I'm thinking in my head, so is this what he do? Is this what he does to other girls? You know, like tries to get his artist rocks off by helping them become an artist. But then after they stop talking, he'd be like, oh yeah, she be trying to be she tried to be an artist, or every girl I talk to tries to be an artist. And I just thought in my head, I hope that he doesn't try to flip that on me like one day, like, you know what I'm saying? Because I sure as hell did not ask you. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so Rachel said, you're beautiful. I'm glad you got out that situation. I appreciate you. Sweetness, Sadie said, some people think you don't love the person. Some people think you don't love the person if you don't fight daily. A man jealous of a woman's success, crazy work. Rachel said, typical narcissist behavior. Okay, so hold on, y'all. I just want to make sure that I don't forget anything, because I'm not talking about this again after today. After I do this live, I'm gonna try to get everything out as much as possible. I really am, because okay. So yeah. So all this woulda, coulda, shoulda, I shoulda did this, I shoulda did that, you know, that was kind of just like, you know, it was a red flag to me, because it's like, I just want you to be happy in your skin and, you know, within yourself, because I've experienced jealousy in my life. You know what I'm saying? I've experienced people feeling like they are like in some type of secret competition with me for no reason and stuff like that. So it really does make me nervous when people are comparing me to them, or when they feel inferior to me, because I don't want no one to feel inferior to me, because I don't want you to be jealous. Like, literally, I don't want you to be jealous. I want you to be happy within yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because once people become jealous, that's when they start throwing shots. That's when they start talking about you. And that's when it just goes down the drain. And I know that there's no reason to really help that. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, I just want him to be happy in his own skin. Okay, so let me see. Oh my gosh, this is another one. So another red flag is he used to brag about this girl that he dated in high school, right? She was a cute girl, light-skinned girl. She was a cheerleader in like a whole bunch of clubs and stuff like that, real involved in the school. And he used to brag about attracting that type of girl, right? Like, yeah, I used to date girls like so-and-so, and I used to date girls like this and like that. And he used to be like he used to try to downplay me and be like, you know, you used to hang out with ratchet girls and used to hang out with girls that fight a lot and stuff like that. So I was never around y'all. And it was so weird that he would even say that to me, because he was the one that was always like trying to fight for his masculinity, right? By basically saying, yeah, before I came to sorry, I don't want to say no names or whatever, but before I came to high school, to y'all school, I used to get in brawls, and I used to get in all these fights, and my family used to help me fight and stuff like that. And he used to tell me all these gangster stories, right? But peep this. He moved to Georgia when he was in ninth grade, meaning all these gangster stories, all these gangster hood stories that he was telling me about, all these fight stories, all happened when he was in elementary school. So it's like you're trying to make me feel like, you gave the ratchet girl a chance, right? And all you dated was corporate type girls and girls that were cheerleaders and in clubs and stuff. And but I never hung around, you and your squad because y'all was ratchet and y'all was at parties and y'all da da da. And I know this is gonna sound so stupid. This is gonna sound so stupid, but if you get it, you get it. That's all I can say. I honestly, honest to God, I think that he was jealous of me because I don't even want to say this like I'm bragging about this because I'm really not. I don't even talk about this on my channel, but I think he was jealous of me because I got in fights in high school. And if you can think back, right, when people fought in high school, that gave you a whole different persona to your classmates. You got stripes, you got respect, you know what I'm saying? Especially if you won a fight and you came back to school the next day or that next Monday, people be all on your dick like, oh my God, you got a fight, you won, da da da, I can't believe you fought. Like that's how getting in a fight in high school is. It's like when you get back to school after that weekend or after that day, it's like people be like on your, for real. They like, you have groupies for like a whole week. So and the people that fought at our school, they just got their stripes. Like, I don't know how else to say it. Like, if you fought, you got stripes. And if you never fought, you just didn't get your stripes. I don't know what to say. So he never fought in high school, right? Not saying that he was scared or he was, nothing like that. He just didn't. And I really feel like he was jealous that I got my stripes in high school and he never got the chance to prove himself. So that's why he was telling me all these fight stories when he was in elementary school and middle school and stuff like that. And, trying to like prove his gangster to me, right? Y'all, this is just ridiculous. Like, honestly, this is ridiculous. Like, ridiculous. But when a guy is constantly fighting for his masculinity and constantly fighting for that validation, I swear some guys will go to no end. Now, this is something that I feel like contributed to his constantly fighting for his validation and his masculinity. Number one is the patriarchy, period. How this system is set up puts an unrealistic expectation on men to be hyper masculine and hyper everything, to where men are constantly trying to prove themselves to other men. That's why the bro code exists. That's why bros over hoes exist. That's why all these things exist that make men feel the need to protect other men or validate other men, and completely invalidate women's experience, women's opinions, women's guidance, women's leadership, women's everything. So, number one, yes, I think that he fell victim to the patriarchy, just like 99% of men. But I also remember a story that he told me, right? He told me a story that when he was younger, he had natural faculties. He could sing really good, he can write poetry really good, and he can cook really good, okay? These were 3 things that he told me he did naturally when he was young. And he told me that he was a real lover boy when he was younger. So like when he liked a girl, he would write her a note. He told me that his big brother found the note at the house, right? Read it out loud to all his siblings and stuff like that, and was laughing at him, calling him gay. And I can't make this up. Tell me why he told me his big brother, the big brother that, when everyone has a big brother, they look up to their big brother. His big brother and his own mother started calling him gay. Mother. Okay? Mother and big brother was laughing at him, calling him gay because they found a letter that he wrote to a girl at school that he liked. And also he told me that they would make fun of him for doing stuff. Like every time he would try to sing, they would tell him that he can't sing, shut up, stop singing. So naturally, I feel like he felt like the things that he was good at and the things that he was interested in made him less than a man, right? Which is crazy because I would have loved for him to actually accept himself at the time we were dating. I would have loved for you to cook for me. I would have loved for you to write me poetry. I would have loved all of that. But because, you know, certain things that happened in your childhood made you feel less than, you are constantly trying to prove your masculinity to me. And you are constantly trying to dominate me, right? So yeah, anyway, so that's like some little childhood trauma thing that I just wanted to throw out there because, you know, he was not supported by his family, period. He was not. And he actually felt like that in his adulthood because he told me that after he graduated from college, he said that his mother was like, you know, this is my son and, you know, I'm proud of my son and blah, blah, blah. And he literally told me, like, you know, my mom only, you know, congratulates me or supports me when I achieve something. She only, you know, wants to recognize me when I achieve something, but she didn't help me get to where I was. She didn't support me when I was singing. She didn't support me when I was going through the process. And I just remember thinking like, damn, you know, it's kind of messed up. Like, no, that's messed up or whatever. Whew, man. Okay, Nana said, oh, Kelly said, I'm glad you said that. Nana said, toxic masculinity. Okay, Kelly said, I'm glad you shared that because I was thinking that his behaviors were a result of his relationship trauma with his mother. Now, I do think that that does play a part because he told me that his mother was like mentally abusive, you know, physically abusive, and he ended up leaving his childhood home when he was 15 and he never went back. I don't know what it's like to feel like I have to leave my parents' house at 15. I don't know what that's like. You know what I'm saying? So I can only imagine the type or what he was going through or what he felt at that time. So yeah. Now, my idea of love, you know, I'm just gonna throw this out there to show the polarity between our upbringing. When I was growing up, my parents pretty much let me experience whatever I wanted to try. If I wanted to do cheerleading, they let me do it. If I wanted to do ballet, they let me do it. If I wanted to play soccer, they let me do it. I wanted to do track, they let me do it. So my idea of love is people supporting you unconditionally. I'm the youngest child, so I have a totally different experience with my parents than my big sister and my big brother. My big sister, they were super strict on her. Like, whew, child. I probably would have ran away from home if I was the oldest. Okay? My sister, she's a Capricorn, so maybe, you know, divinely, you know, she's meant to handle that or whatever. But she got a lot more strict version of my parents. My brother, he was their first boy. He gave them a run for their money. Okay? And by the time I came, I honestly feel like my parents was just tired. They was tired of giving whoopings. They was tired. They was tired of, you know, worrying and stuff like that. So by the time I came into the world, my parents were more relaxed. Like their parenting style was more relaxed. So that's why I was able to find myself at an early age, to develop my talents at an early age, to be able to like accept myself at an early age. And if I had any trauma with self-esteem, it happened at school. Where my best friend would like turn on me and try to embarrass me and call me skinny or bony or, you know, call me a teacher's pet or something like that. Or like my cousins or whatever. But it never happened from home. Like, yeah, I used to get whoopings. Like, I used to stay getting whoopings. Like, I got whoopings so I was in high school. I'm not gonna lie. But I honestly don't think that was like, I don't think that had like an effect on my self-esteem. I don't. Because, y'all, I'm an Aquarius. I am a rebel to the day I die. So I was getting whooped like at some point in time and not even crying. Like I used to be like, get off me. So yeah, I was kind of like I was a demon kid for a minute. So anyway, so so back to the story, right? Let me make sure. Okay, so here's another thing that was very frustrating to me. You know what? I'll name a story. We're here. We're already on live. We're already here. I might as well. So I was going to this 24-hour spa. I was telling him about it. I was telling him, you know, the nature of it and stuff like that. I was saying that I was going to go spend the night with my cousin and leave the next day. He said, okay, cool, no problem. So I check in to the, hey, I was checking in to the 24-hour spa at around like 11:30, like 12 o'clock at night, right? I texted him, okay? I texted him, hey, babe, I'm here. I have to put my phone in the locker room because I can't bring it in the sauna. He said, okay, cool. Communication, okay? Because at this point, I'm trying to be the perfect girlfriend. I'm trying to have perfect communication. I don't want no, miscommunication. I don't want nothing not connecting, okay? And I already know that he's a little weird on the weird side. So I'm just like, let me make sure that, I'm totally transparent with this. So I say, I'm about to put my phone in the locker room. I'll let you know, whatever, when I get my phone back. He said, okay, cool. Mind you, I already told him it was a 24-hour spa. That's the only reason why I will be texting you, hey, babe, I just got here at 12 a.m. All right. So I go in the sauna, whatever. I spend the night with my cousin. We wake up the next morning, still at the sauna. We have breakfast at the spa, whatever. And it was around like 11 o'clock in the morning, right? I texted him another attempted line of communication. I texted him 3 sun emojis. I texted him at 11 o'clock in the morning. Y'all, please, someone in the chat, let me know what you think that means. If you get a text from someone you're dating in the morning and it's 3 sun emojis, wouldn't that mean something along the lines of good morning? Right? Let me know if I'm tripping. Okay? Good morning. Exactly. Good morning. Right? I texted him that. He don't text me back. Right? So I'm just like, maybe he's busy. I ain't think nothing of it. I leave the spa at around 12 p.m., go home, hit him up again. He's mad. Good morning, sunshine. Okay. He's mad, right? You were at that spa all night and you didn't hit me up, you didn't communicate with me or nothing, da. And I'm like, wait. Back in the Twilight Zone, y'all. Back in the Twilight Zone. I'm like, what you mean? I'm like, I texted you before I went in the sauna and I texted you when I woke up that morning. You know what he said, y'all? Can't make this up. He said, but I didn't know what that meant. How am I supposed to know what that meant? Nothing in your head told you what 3 suns meant? So here's the thing, right? He's saying anything could have happened to you, right? You could have been in danger, right? And you should communicate with me because I want to make sure you're safe. So why didn't you hit me up if you are worried about my safety? Why didn't you text me back if you were so worried about my safety? Y'all can only imagine that debate. I'm over here like, you wasn't worried about my safety because I texted you and you never even texted me back. You were worried about me being at the spa or you just not being around me or controlling me or something. I don't know what the real issue was, but I communicated with you when I went and when I woke up. So, he's trying to do this whole argument about me not hitting him up, letting him know that I'm safe, right? And I'm over here like, you did not give two rats' asses if I was safe. So we're getting into a whole argument about that, right? And he's like, you know what? He was like, let's just go talk to my mama about this. Let's go talk to my mama about this. I said, okay, bet. I said, where the keys? I said, bet, let me get my jacket. Let's go. Let's go to your mama's house. Because I want her to hear this. Now, mind you, I was so ecstatic to go to his mom's house. That's the moment I realized he was probably like, damn, why'd I say that? You know what I'm saying? Because I knew he knew he was wrong. So we go to his mama's house, and he's explaining the story. I'm sorry. Let me read some of this chat real quick. I'm sorry, y'all. So sorry. Okay, so Kelly said, if he had never been there, I could see why he didn't fully comprehend. However, you did tell him you were going to be out of communication. I did. Not ass, rat asses. Not the mom. No, y'all, this is crazy. So we go to his mom's house and we're explaining the story to her, right? And he's presenting to the argument that I wasn't communicating with him and that he just wanted to know that I was safe, right? And I'm telling his mom, well, I told him where I was going and what the nature of the spa was. I told him that we're going to spend the night and I would text him when I wake up or text him when I get my phone back. And then I texted him 3 sons in the morning and he never texted me back. So the whole time, right, the mom is trying to figure out where the problem is. So she's like, well, why did you go to a 24-hour spa? You know what I'm saying? She's just trying to find anything. She's trying to find any type of route that she can pull up or dig up. She's like, well, why did you go to a 24-hour spa? And I'm like, I can't go to a 24-hour spa. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, am I not allowed to go? He didn't tell me that he had a problem with the spa. He's trying to make the argument that I didn't communicate with him and that he had to keep me safe. So don't try to make a new problem. You know what I'm saying? He didn't say that was the problem. So, so I asked her, you know what I'm saying? Are you allowed to go to a 24-hour spa in a relationship? Or do you think that that's wrong? Tell me why the mama was like, I can do whatever I want. I'm not submissive. I'm like, what the hell? The mom is like, I'm not submissive to no man. And mind you, her man was sitting right on the couch next to her. I'm not submissive to no man. I can do what I want. I'm not saying that, going to the 24-hour spa was wrong. I'm just saying, did he like it? Did he want you to do that or whatever? And I'm trying to explain to her, he didn't have a problem with it. That's what y'all not seeing. That wasn't even his problem. So the whole night, right? His mom is trying to talk to us. Her boyfriend is trying to talk to us. Her boyfriend is like an army veteran, right? So he's like, all tough, like, trying to give us advice, relationship advice and stuff like that. And it's getting so heated. Like, we're not coming to no conclusions. It's getting so heated that they had to separate us, right? So his mom went outside with him for a couple minutes and I was inside talking to the mom's boyfriend. And I'm telling him my perspective and he's giving me his opinion and, whatever they're talking about, I can't hear them outside. So then we go back inside and we're trying to have the conversation again. We can't come to a conclusion, right? Because my ex at the time, he cannot explain why he didn't text me back. That was the whole disconnect. If you were worried about my safety, why didn't you text me back when I texted you the 3 sons? Hello, So then we still didn't get to no conclusion. It was still getting heated. So then we switched again. I was talking to his mom, and then the mom's boyfriend took him outside and closed the door. And they was talking outside the apartment. Long story short, his mama got tired of us after like 2 hours, and she was like, okay, y'all gotta go. She was like, y'all gotta go. Get out of my house. She was like, I need to spend time with my man. Y'all gotta figure this out on y'all own. So we was like, okay, we're sorry. And we walked out. We walked out in shame, right? So when we came back to, our apartment, whatever, he told me, like, he was looking real, like, first of all, he was looking like his spirits were just like broken. Like, he was like, shoulders hunched over, like looking real, like sad or whatever. And I'm just like, telling him, like, like, it's okay. Like, it's like the whole situation, it's okay. You know what I'm saying? I just want you to know that, if you wanted to contact me, or if you wanted to know that I was safe, you could have hit me up. You don't have to be afraid to hit me up. So I was telling him, like, I know we just got in a relationship, but don't think that you're bugging me, or don't think that, you're being an inconvenience. You could still hit me up. Like, you could text me. You could have texted me all through the night. Like, it's okay. Like, I think that he was afraid of looking like a bugaboo, or he was like afraid of looking like a burden. That's why he didn't text me. But it's like, that was on you though. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was on you. So yeah, so I'm in the car telling him, you can always text me. You're never annoying. I don't think that you're controlling. You can always text me. Don't ever be afraid to text me and stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. So he's still looking all sad, hunched over, right? I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this nigga, right? Oh, thank you, CJ. Love, bring your love. Oh my God, love your bring back story time. Please don't say my name like I'm a baddie. Much love. Appreciate you. So he ends up telling me, when I was outside talking to my mom, she was asking me why I was so angry. And she was asking me why, I was acting like that and stuff like that. And then when her boyfriend took me outside, for those couple minutes, he was asking me why. He asked him the same thing. He was like saying, oh, he was asking me why I was so angry, and asking me like, where's my dad and stuff like that. And I was like, well, number one, I didn't say this. I'm thinking in my head, thank God somebody told him that he had anger issues. Thank God somebody said it. Because when I say it, oh, it don't mean nothing. When I say it, I'm just trying to be manipulative or whatever. But your mama said it. And your mother's boyfriend said it. A whole man. Okay? Now, men are supposed to have this bro code. You know what I'm saying? So if a man says it, you know you messed up. You know you're messing up. So, I'm just like, sitting there kind of like silent, like, but, I'm in my head like, yes, a win is a win. A win is a win. A win is a win. But I'm like, it's okay. I'm like rubbing his back, like, it's okay, whatever. Like, I'm over here telling him, like, I already forgive you, like, blah, blah, blah. Whew, child. So that's the first time I feel like someone close to him that he loved told him that he had an anger problem, okay? Now, another situation happened where, and you know what? I admit I was probably being very sensitive in this next story, okay? I already admit that. So he was telling me about how he was Muslim or whatever, or he studied Islam and he was going down that path or whatever. And I told him how I was more kind of just into like trying to apply like divine laws to my life, and I was into astrology. And he was basically saying how astrology is not real and how it's a bunch of like hoopla and stuff like that, right? Now, the brain that I have now, I would have been like, who cares? You know what I'm saying? Like, I would have literally been like, oh, okay, cool. Like, who cares? You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't. astrology has done more for me than you probably ever will do. You know what I'm saying? So I just wouldn't have cared. But at the time, I was in my feelings. I was sensitive. So after he said that, after I left him, whatever, I sent him this long text message, right? And it was like, I don't appreciate you downplaying my spirituality or my religious beliefs, and I don't downplay yours. And I was like, I'm not going to allow a man to, or I'm not going to allow anyone to try to downplay me or, make it seem like this or whatever. Like, I basically was like defending myself, right? And defending my beliefs or whatever in that text message. So he perceived that as me being mean to him, right? It was probably a Mercury retrograde. Probably was. I was not paying attention to none of the transits at that time, so probably did get caught up in that. So he ended up saying like, oh, you're talking to me rude and don't talk to me like that and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all I did was put up boundaries. Like, you're acting like I'm calling you names or something. All I'm saying is don't talk to me like this and don't do that to me. So I'm over here like, have you never had a girl set up boundaries? You know what I'm saying? Like, you never had a girl establish boundaries? Like, you really think that me setting up boundaries for myself is me bullying you or being rude to you? Another Twilight Zone, right? So, that conversation dragged on, right? It dragged on. So the last day we were talking about it, trying to resolve everything, he got mad again. And I told him, read the text message just from a very objective standpoint. Don't try to put my voice in it. Don't try to put whatever attitude you think I have, because you're really projecting your mother. Don't try to project me into it. Just read the message. Just read the words for what they are, because you're missing the message. You know what I'm saying? You're getting into this, oh, your tone this, your tone that. First of all, it's a text message. So whatever tone you're getting from it is what you are imagining in your mind. I'm telling you the tone that I had when I was typing it, and you're not believing me. So now we're going to try a different exercise. Just read it. Just read it word for word, and let's pay attention to the freaking message, right? He starts reading the text. And he has dyslexia. I don't know. I think it's diagnosed. I think it is diagnosed. He has dyslexia, right? Now, I'm not trying to be insensitive, but there has been situations in our relationship before that where he read something out loud and he didn't have no problem reading it. I'm not saying that dyslexia doesn't affect you sometimes as an adult. I'm just saying that I feel like dyslexia is something that people can strengthen over time, like their handwriting, the way they write, the way they read. And I've seen it in other people that have been diagnosed with dyslexia, saying how they went from having dyslexia when they were younger, not being able to remember nothing, read nothing, to reading whole books or being able to read out loud fast and efficiently and stuff like that. So I understand that it can be strengthened, right? And I'm not saying that that's what happened with him, but I'm saying that he wasn't exuding any signs of the dyslexia really affecting his life still, right? Before that. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Now, back to the message, right? I'm telling him, just read the message. Try to take tone out of it and just read what I'm trying to say to you. He's over here like, can't read a single message, right? A single word. And I'm like, oh, now all of a sudden you can't read? Now, when I said that, I wasn't taking a jab at his dyslexia. I was saying that, I wasn't even thinking about dyslexia at that time, honestly. I said that because he was acting like he couldn't read the message. Literally. He's like, acting like he can't read. So once again, I was like, oh, so now you acting like you can't read. So then he goes, you're a bully. You're a bully. You know I got dyslexia. You're a bully, right? And I was over here like, dog, once again, I'm in a twilight zone and this can't be happening. Once again, I'm in the twilight zone and this cannot be happening. So he tries to call me a bully, right? Trying to insinuate that I'm, trying to weaponize his dyslexia. One thing led to another. I got my phone back, right? I don't know exactly what happened a second before this, but I had my phone in my hand and he grabbed my phone out my hand and did this motion, but didn't throw my phone. He just grabbed it out my hand and was like, ugh, like, just out of like frustration. And I was like, I was like, give me my phone. I got my phone. I walked down the hill where we were hiking at, and I left him at the park. Period. Because don't ever, okay? So the reason why I mentioned that is because I wanted to say something that his mom told him again. And I think it was that same night too, if I can recall, or maybe it was before that. I don't know. Now, when I recall these stories, I do see how his mom was kind of, I'm not going to say she was on my side, but she was more neutral in the beginning. Toward the end, when we were having problems, like, 2 years into it, I feel like his mom was like, girl, get the, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm tired of dealing with y'all arguments and stuff like that. So I felt like she wasn't on my side, or I felt like she was biased and stuff. But now that I think about it, she actually was checking him in the beginning. So she ended up like, okay, so that whole situation was crazy. I told him that if he comes to my house, I'm going to call the police. Like, I was really accepting the fact that this man got issues. Like, he got issues. He got real anger issues, right? So I was scared. I didn't want him to come to my house. So I basically texted him, if you come to my house, I'm going to call the police, blah, blah, blah. And like his mom ended up talking to me like, don't call the police on him. He's a black man and blah, 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 blah. So anyway, so after me and him got back cool, right? He ended up telling me that he had a conversation with his mom about what happened. And his mother told him that was abusive behavior. She didn't say he was abusive. She was like, so-and-so, that's abusive, right? That's abusive behavior. And he told me stories about his mom being abused when she was, raising them and stuff like that, and how they used to have to fight off her boyfriends, and how she used to be like sexually abused by her boyfriends and stuff. So she knows abuse. Like, she knows abuse. So she told him, that's abusive. Like, don't do that. Like, you grabbed her phone. Like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? So he ended up telling me, I never thought that was abuse. I never considered that abuse or whatever. And I'm just like, yeah, nigga, like, yeah, that's abuse. so hold on, let me read some of this real quick. Okay, so I bet he grew up in a home where he witnessed verbal violence, so he didn't have any context for a healthy conversation. No, facts. One has to be able to see these patterns to overcome them. Yes. Once again, Kelly said his mother was a bully and he was projecting that issue with his mother onto you. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And, it's crazy how, I don't know, it's just crazy how, like, when I look back at all this stuff, like, the projection was really real. Like, it really was. Like, I got a lot of smoke that did not belong to me, but whatever. So I remember when I was talking to his mom about that situation after we got back cool, and she told me, this is another reason why I feel like, his mom actually was, kind of helpful in the beginning, before I felt like, she never liked me and blah, 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 which is probably not true. But she told me, she was like, listen, she was like, if so and so is abusive, she was like, leave him. She was like, I don't care if that's my son. She was like, he grew up seeing, guys abuse me, and, they had a rough childhood. So I understand where he gets that behavior from. She wasn't even denying it, y'all. She was like, I understand where he gets that behavior from. And she was like, if he's abusing you, she was like, leave him. I don't care if he's my son. And I said, okay. But guess what, y'all? I was so dumb. At that point in time, I didn't see that as another divine confirmation, right? Like how I was seeing all the other shit as divine confirmation. I saw it as, okay, well, his mom, agrees that I'm not tripping. So maybe I can continue to talk to her about certain things and she can continue to check him, right? So I'm thinking that I could, maybe this was like a selfish thing on my part, or egotistical thing or whatever, but I thought that I can use her to keep him in check, because she told me that she already knows what's happening. Like, she knows what's going on with him and his behavior and stuff like that. So I'm like, now I have like a sidekick, you know what I'm saying? Now I have someone that, you know what I'm saying? But no, that's not how it ended up. She was literally telling me leave him. She wasn't saying, I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna make sure he's in check, girl, or I'm gonna make sure. She never promised me none of that. I took it the way I wanted to take it, and I didn't take her words for face value, and that was my fault. Okay. Okay. Um. Okay. So another thing that I realized, right, is the continuous fight for his masculinity. It didn't just end with me. It continued with his friends. When we were out in public, he would literally sun his friends. Like, sun them. Sun them in front of other women too. And it came off as bullying. You know what I'm saying? But how men are, men will literally joan on each other for hours. And it's just their culture, right? You're so ugly, so like, the guys will do that to each other all day and not consider it to be an abusive friendship, right? If girls did that, like, we would be like, girl, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? But guys do that to each other just as a culture. So I felt like every time he did that to his friends, they would just accept it for like his personality or something. But it was so weird because his friends didn't do it back to him. It was only one of his friends that did it to him, and they used to clash so much, they didn't really hang out that much. It was like he only hung out with the two homeboys that were like the most submissive. Y'all, it was just weird. These are grown men, mind you. So I'm just like, I'm thinking in my head, maybe they see him as like their meal ticket or their way out because he's so charismatic and, he can move in rooms and stuff like that. That they think that he's their meal ticket or something. I don't know what, maybe they think that he's going to be the next to blow or something. I don't know. But they let him verbally abuse them and sun them in front of women, like saying stuff like yelling at them in front of a group of like people in public, snatching stuff from them, talking about, I don't want to beat your ass, like stuff like that to his own friends. So I'm just like, so his friends let him talk to them like this. That's why he thinks he's some type of like big alpha man or something like that, because you know who to be alpha with and you know who not to be alpha with. So the reason why I mention that is because, once again, from that childhood story, I feel like he was always trying to prove his masculinity, right? And his body type is not, built, it's not buff. He's like real skinny, but he has, he has some strength on him. You just can't tell because of his body type. So it's like he's always trying to prove his masculinity and prove himself as a man. And it's like, bruh, at some point in time, you have to stop trying to prove that to people. Because number one, you be scaring the hoes. You're scaring me, okay? And you're sunning your friends in public, and it's actually making you look like the weaker one. But I digress. Okay. So this new you know what? I actually do want to say something else too. He was very paranoid about being caught, or like, yeah, being caught, right? Every time he would, okay, there was this one time, I'll just say a very specific time. There was a time he came home drunk and he was just talking nonsense, right? Now, at first, I was like, learning him a little bit more. So I'm just like, just ignore him, don't respond, just laugh at him, So he's just, going on and on and on and on. Because every time he was drunk, he was always talking his butt off. But this time, as he was talking, he started to, turn on me and, say stuff about me. So I'm just like, like saying stuff to him, like, da da da, like, now I'm going back and forth with him. You know what I'm saying? Because he's saying stuff about me, which I should have never done. I should just let him drunk rant. You know what I'm saying? But I started to go back and forth with him a little bit. And he took his hand and he pushed it on my face. Like, shut up, stop talking. Right? And when he took his hand off my face, like, he didn't just take his hand off my face. He like drug it down my face. So I ended up having like a scratch on my lip, right? I don't know how I ended up on the floor, but I was on the floor. I was on the floor and he was above me. That's how he put his hand on my mouth and he scratched my face. So I got up and I was like, are you fucking crazy? I was like, are you crazy? And I walked out the room, right? I walked out the room and I went on the porch to get some fresh air. Cause I'm like, this nigga done lost his motherfucking mind. I'm on the porch, right? Mind you, I'm not crying on the porch. I'm not yelling on the porch. I'm not calling the police. I just went outside to get some fresh air because, nigga, have you lost your mind? You know what I'm saying? I hear all this mumbling on the inside of the house, right? Like, and I opened the door to see what's going on. And he's like, you don't call the police on me. You don't call the police on me. I'm a black man. And da-da-da. Like, so scared that I was going to call the police. And I was like, shut up. I'm like, I'm not going to call the police. And I'm like, you don't even want to apologize to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not tripping like that. Like, I know you're drunk. Like, whatever, it's fine. I know you didn't mean to scratch me, I think, you know what I'm saying? But like, I was like, calm down. I was like, I'm not finna call the police. And he's just like, oh, you gonna call the police on me? I knew I should have been with you. Da-da-da. Like, just mumbling under his breath, all this stuff. That's when I realized, oh, he got a real demon inside of him. He got a real spirit inside of him. He's so afraid to be caught. Why couldn't you just apologize to me? Why couldn't you just say, I'm sorry for putting my hand on you. I didn't mean it. I'm just drunk, or, something. You're so concerned about me calling the cops on you. Yeah. So that I just wanted to give context about his innards. His innards. You know what I'm saying? Like, the spirits and the fears that he has within him. Like, he was literally more concerned about me calling the cops on him for putting his hands on me, rather than coming outside and being like, I'm sorry, babe. Forgive me for that. I didn't mean to do that. Blah, blah, blah. Like, none of that. None of that. So I'm about to get into part 2 of this. Caught doing what? I think that he has a fear of being caught doing anything imperfect, honestly. Like, I think he's afraid of being outed for like abusive behavior or narcissistic behavior or something like that. Like, he just, I mean, no one wants the cops called on them, you know what I'm saying? Which I understand. I don't know. I don't know. But that just seemed like, it just seemed like a fear that just took over his mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're so afraid of me calling the cops on you or exposing you or something like that, how about you just don't put your hands on me? Like, whatever. So now I'm gonna get into the second half of this because y'all, if y'all thought it was crazy before, it's just starting, okay? I am a sunshine nature girl. I'm just gonna I'm just gonna put that out there. I'm a sunshine nature girl. I like cooking. I like community. I like shroom trips. I'm just like a real hippie, like nature type of girl, right? I entertained the idea of polyamory, right? I was gonna say polygamy, but I feel like that's not the right term. It's polyamory, right? Where there's one man and then there's, you know, multiple sister wives that work together. They have a close bond. They keep the house up together. They support the man. You know, I just liked that idea, right? And, you know, I was consuming a lot of content of all of these, you know, spiritual leaders talking about, you know, men are naturally polygamous and it goes against a man's nature to be with one woman and, you know, all this stuff that I was just consuming, right? So I'm thinking in my head, well, if that is the closest thing to nature, I should honor that, right? So that I don't cause any discourse in his natural inclinations or his natural desires. I don't want to be the type of woman that is constantly on your tail about who you talking to and who you on the phone with and, you know, all this stuff. So I opened myself to the idea of polyamory, right? I don't want to hold no man back. You know, I don't want to make you feel like you're trapped. I don't want to control you. You know, I want you to be the best man that you are. I want to make you feel like a king, you know, to even the point where I will bring you other women that I feel like is worthy, you know, to be in our situation, right? When I look back at this, y'all, it was nothing but a bunch of positive projection on my end. Me putting my uh putting my fantasies on him. You know what I'm saying? Like me creating this world in my mind and thinking that the universe put him in my life to fulfill that. But really what I was doing was, honey, I was giving him I was putting too much maybe on his plate or something. I can't even say it was that because I wasn't forcing him to be anything. I wasn't forcing him to do anything. So it wasn't like I was putting things on his plate. But I don't know. I was just trying to make the relationship as peaceful and sustainable as possible. So I asked him, you know, have you ever tried polyamory before? And he was like, yeah, I did it one time before. You know, I had two girls. So, you know, I was asking him questions about it. Like, you know, did they know each other? Were they friends with each other? You know, how did y'all work that out? He ended up telling me that the two girls fought each other at the end. Okay? Hey, Heartboard. Hey, Breezie. I love your hair. Beautiful. Still my favorite. Thank you. So yeah, so I'm asking him, has he ever done polyamory before? And he basically told me that the two girls that supposedly knew about each other and that were supposedly in agreement, they ended up fighting each other. Okay? So I'm like, so obviously you weren't being totally truthful with them. Because why would they fight, you know? they did know about each other. They were just jealous of each other and they were just fighting over me, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, obviously, you were doing something disingenuous. Obviously, you weren't being completely honest with them. Because if they were in agreement and if they knew about each other, why would they fight each other? Right? He still claims that they were obsessed with him and that's why they fought each other, because they were fighting over him, right? I'm like, okay, he obviously he's lying, but whatever. So I'm thinking in my head, well, I've been doing enough research about, this polyamory thing. I know how to make it work. And my ideology was the women have to be close. The women have to be legitimate friends. The women have to respect one another and they have to be very close, because it's already going against our Western traditions of monogamy. We're already getting less one-on-one quality time with the man. We're already, having to open up our relationship and trust another woman. So there could be insecurities that may seep in. So the women have to be very close, right? The women have to be inseparable, because that's the whole foundation of it. Without the women being in agreement, you don't have polyamory. You just have monogamy, right? So the relationship between the women is the most important thing in my eyes, right? Of course, they have to love the man, be loyal to the man, be in love with the man. But without the women being in agreement, you don't have the foundation no more of polyamory, So I was telling him, this is where I feel like you went wrong and stuff like that. And I was telling him, well, I feel like, I was just telling him my ideas of how polyamory could actually work. And I had this idea, which I still don't even disagree with this, which is really, after all this, it's crazy, but I still don't even disagree with it. I like the idea of having a sister wife, having a best friend that's in my relationship that has my back. I have her back. When she's sick, I'm coming and I'm doing things for her. I'm making runs for her. When I'm sick, she's making runs for me. Like, we have each other's back. Like, we're in a relationship, but we're just like sister wives of the same man. I actually like that idea. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just a notorious girl's girl. So I was all for that idea, right? So, but once again, that red flag was, he told me that he's done it before in the past, but the girls fought. He also said that one of the girls ended up stalking him, destroying everything in his house, like was knocking stuff over and stuff like that. So it just showed me, like, you really pissed somebody off. You know what I'm saying? Hartford says, so who do you think should pick the woman? The woman. The woman. I think the man should be in agreement, but I feel like the woman coming into the picture should be chosen by the woman, because I feel like a woman would see another woman's intrinsic qualities better than the man. I feel like the man will only see a woman for her desirability and her sexual value, you know what I'm saying? So as long as she's fine, he's probably like, yeah, I can work with that. You know what I'm saying? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. But in a woman's eyes, she can tell who's a fun girl and who's a girl that actually would add value. Like, my biggest fear was allowing a girl in our relationship and she need money to every week, or she ain't got no car, or some weird stuff that would have me and him in a bind. So I had to try to make a differentiation between, okay, if we court a girl, we have to differentiate the fun girls versus the girls that are actually worthy, because I'm not picking up another burden. Like, I'm not doing it. I don't care how much you like the girl. If she need money, or she need rides, or she need whatever, she not finna be my equal. You know what I'm saying? No, like, no. So, so yeah. So we ended up courting a girl one time, which was cool. We just took her out to like these lounges, whatever, got to know her. She was cool. Then we dated another girl, took her out one time, and she was cool, but I guess the chemistry wasn't really chemistrying, you know. So then I was going through girls' pages from his Instagram. So I was logged into his Instagram and I was finding girls. So basically, what I would do is try to get their attention. So I would be liking their pictures. I would follow girls from his page, you know, girls that I felt like were worthy enough to start to get to know. Girls that, you know, that appear to be spiritual, girls that appear to be whole, girls that were attractive in my eyes. You know, those are the girls that I scouted from his Instagram, right? Or, you know, dropped seeds from his Instagram. So a few weeks go by and he ends up telling me, hey, you know, I've been talking to this girl for the last couple of weeks and I want to show you her because I think she has a lot of potential. And I said, oh, okay. I said, let me see her, you know? So he showed me her and I recognized her. That's one of the girls that I was interacting with from his page. And I was like, oh, I was like, I think I remember her. I think that's one of the girls that I, you know, was liking or whatever from your page. And he was like, oh, okay, you know. And he was like, she wants to meet up tomorrow. And I was like, oh. I was like, okay, you know. So, but okay, so I wanna point this out because these were feelings of intuition that I felt and that I acknowledged in my mind, but I didn't know what they meant at the time, right? So when he first showed me, right, the girl, when I saw her page, I recognized her vaguely, right? Because I was following girls from his page weeks ago, so I completely forgot about the girls, but I remembered her, and when I saw her, I can't really describe the feeling, but it felt like, and not like a relief. It felt like heavy a little bit. I can't really explain it. But it was kind of just like I looked at her and it was almost like, y'all, I really can't explain it, but it was almost like a heaviness that came over me, right? And I didn't tell him that, right? So he ended up going on a date with her. Now, me being the girl's girl that I am, right? I wanted her to get to know him alone. I wanted them to build a rapport together before she met me because I didn't want to overwhelm her, right? I've been in a situation where a couple wanted me to be their sister wife or their second wife or whatever. And both of them kind of trying to woo me and stuff like that and court me. It was overwhelming to me. I'm like, shit, like I'm trying to get to know the girl. Like I'm trying to get to know the guy, but I don't really feel like getting to know the guy right now because I'm still trying to get to know the girl. It was just a lot. It was overwhelming. And I kind of felt like, you know, why are both y'all like on me so hard? Like, are y'all trying to like use me as like a sex toy? Like, I felt like I was like their entertainment for their relationship. So I didn't want this girl to feel like that. I wanted her to come into the situation one at a time so she could feel comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Like, she can get to know him a little bit. And after they're hanging out for a few weeks, then when she's ready to meet me, then she can meet me and then we can start building a rapport. I'm pretty sure a lot of girls are going to be like, girl, you are dumb as hell. If I am, that's okay. I accept that. But I didn't have it in my mind to be strategic with this. I really didn't. I didn't have it in my mind to already not trust her. Why I didn't, I don't know. I don't know. But I wanted her to have a fair shot in dating him alone because I knew that once we all moved in together or once we all, you know, combined um and became like a throuple, I knew that they would never have that quality time like that again. So I'm like, you know what? I want her to have a fair honeymoon phase with you. I want to make sure that that she has a fair dating experience with you. Because I had my dating experience. I was with him for 2 years before, no, a year and a half before, before she came in the picture. So I'm like, I want her to have a fair dating phase. I want her to have a fair honeymoon phase with you. And, like, I'm willing to give y'all that space, you know? So anyway, so he goes out on a date with her, and I'm just home watching YouTube, journaling, just doing me, right? So he comes home the next morning, and no, I think it was the same night, or maybe the next morning. It was like early in the morning, like 6 a.m. or something like that. And, me and this guy, we were like besties. Like, there were points of our relationship where we were like besties. Like, I didn't show no jealousy to this guy. I didn't try to control him. I didn't check his phone. Like, we were like homies, kind of, in some cases. Because, you know, anyways. So yeah, I'm like, how was it, And he was like, it was good. It was good. And he was like looking real like, like, I don't know, like disconnected a little bit. And I'm like, hello. Like, every time we talk about girls, we're always like in this engaged conversation. So I'm like, that's it? Like, what happened? Like, how was it? And he just like, it was good. I had fun. I'm like, this nigga's trying to hide something. He's trying to hide something. And I'm like, I wonder if he had sex with her. You know what I'm saying? Because why is he acting like that? Like, why is he acting guilty? So I'm like, did y'all do it? And he's like, yeah, we did. And I was like, oh. Because I'm like, I'm thinking in my head, like, y'all just met. Like, I know that me and him, did the do like between 3 and 4 weeks of us dating, which is still not 90 days, you know what I'm saying? But at least it was like 3-4 weeks. They effed the first day they met. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, oh, I was like, interesting. I was like, how was it? And he was like, it was good, it was good. I was like, okay. So the reason why I got that uncomfortable feeling in my mind, because he like tried to like hide it almost. Like, he was trying to like, act real cool. Like, yeah, it was good. It was cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I knew something happened. So I'm just like, okay. So I wasn't mad about it or nothing like that. I just thought it was very interesting because, this girl looked very spiritual. She had a lot of plants on her page, a lot of, yoga and stuff like that. So the fact that she would have sex with a guy from Instagram the first day they met, it just made me think like, that's a very open woman, I guess. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't really know what to think of her yet. So they are dating for a few weeks or whatever. I didn't meet this girl until like the second or third month they were dating. And I don't even know how that much time passed, but I don't know, it just happened like that. So basically, he would go to her house on Saturday. They would go out to eat, and he would spend the night, and then he would come back the next morning on Sunday morning, right? So after like 2 months of him doing that same thing, I was like, how come you don't spend at least Sundays with her? You know what I'm saying? Like, you kind of like treat her like a booty call. And I was like, I'm just making a joke. Like, how come you don't spend Sundays with her? Like, you just go see her Saturday night, y'all F, and then you just come back home. Like, like I want her to, like not feel like a booty call. Like, I was so focused on her not feeling like a booty call that I was literally trying to teach him how to be a better man to her. Literally. So he's like, oh, I don't really like being over there too long because, her big sister be having her kids over there and it just be a lot going on and her bathroom be dirty and I just don't feel like being over there for a long period of time. And I was just like, oh, like I was shocked because like you're technically like talking about her, like you're like talking cat shit about her, you know what I'm saying? So that kind of threw me off. And I was just like, thinking in my head, like, okay, whatever. And he was like, I just love coming home to you. Like you're my home. And when I be with her, I like being around her, but for some reason I always think about you when I'm with her. And like comparing us, like, oh, I like cuddling with her, but you've got more ass and hips, and I just like cuddling with you more at night and blah blah blah. And I was telling him, like, I appreciate what you're trying to do, you know what I'm saying? But you don't have to like compare us, because I know she has her qualities that will, fill some voids in your life that I can't fulfill. And I have qualities that she may not have, but you don't have to like compare us, or say that you have more of this than her or whatever, or, like try to make me feel good about myself by like, by downplaying her. You know what I'm saying? So I was telling him that, like, you don't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? And I just remember thinking in my head, like, he's never tried to downplay any of the girls that we courted before. So I'm like, why is he doing that with this girl? And if y'all grew up with guys, y'all know that when a guy is like either ashamed to express his love for someone, or he's like it just embarrassed or something, he'll talk bad about the girl to his friends and his family, but behind their back he'll be with the girl 24/7. So I've seen it as a situation like that, like he's just talking shit about her for no reason, like maybe he's embarrassed to be into her or something, right? I didn't know what the problem was, but I didn't address it at that time. So another time, like, mind you, this talking about her was like perpetual. It just kept on happening. And once again, I did not like that, because you're talking about her, right? You're talking about her spirituality, making jokes about her, like, oh, she talking about her spirit guides. Oh, she got to consult with her spirit guides, and, making jokes about it. And I'm just thinking in my head, like, this is exactly what he did to me, about my beliefs and my spirituality, trying to make it seem like it was a bunch of hoopla. And, just talking about her or whatever. And I remember I told him something that flipped the switch from this point on. I was like, why are you always talking about her with me? Like, I don't want to talk about her. Like, if she's going to be my sister wife, I want to respect her, you know what I'm saying? And get to know her. Like, you're treating her like she's like some random or something, or she's like a fun girl. Like, if she was a fun girl, okay, cool. Let's talk smack about her, but we're bringing her in. Like, I'm allowing her to come in my relationship with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I want to respect her. Like, period. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, if you're talking about her with me, what makes me think that you're not doing the same thing with her? Y'all, he flipped. He was like, oh, I see you can't take a joke. I'm just trying to joke with you, da 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 da. I never talk bad about you. I always speak highly of you and all this stuff, right? But I knew that wasn't true. Because why do you feel so comfortable talking smack about this girl with me? Like, why? You know what I'm saying? Why? And then, it kept on taking me back to the other story of him telling me about the two girls that fought each other. I'm like, he's obviously doing some manipulation. You know what I'm saying? So I remember one time we were getting in an argument about that subject, because I felt like he was being manipulative, and I felt like he was being very disingenuous with her. One time he told me that he was like, yeah, she told me she loved me or whatever. And I was like, okay, like he was saying it like, yeah, she told me she loved me. Like, that was like the attitude. And I was like, okay, or whatever. And he showed me the text messages, and she was like, mind you, they've only known each other for like 2 months at this point, right? So she's like, oh my gosh, I think I'm in love with you, but I'm afraid to say it, and like pouring her heart out basically. And I looked at him and I was like, did you tell her you loved her back? And he was like, no. And I was like, why? Like, y'all, when I tell you, I was literally mad at him for the way he was treating her and the way he was talking about her behind her back. And like the way, like how he was like playing the whole situation. I'm just like the way he said it, like he like said no and like chuckled. And I'm like, he's clearly love bombing this girl. He's clearly love bombing this girl. He's clearly telling her what she wants to hear to get her emotionally invested in him. And once she does things for him, he comes back and brags about it. Another thing, he told me, yeah, she be buying me food now. And he was like, you know what that means? You know, when a girl starts buying you food, that means she really like you, huh? Like laughing and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, like, I'm just thinking in my head, like, is this what he thought about me? You know what I'm saying? Like, the time that I told him I loved him, was he like going back to his friends and bragging about it and laughing about it? Or like, you know, like when I would buy him food, or when I bought him, you know, this designer belt for his birthday, was he going back and bragging about it and laughing about it? You know, so it just, how he was treating her, it just made me, I just couldn't help but think like, y'all, I think I'm knee deep into a narcissistic relationship. I'm knee deep in at this point. So yeah, so one day we was arguing about it, right? And I'm not the type of person to be in my man's face like, nah, nah, nigga, nah, nah, nah. Like, I never put my hands in his face, ever. Never, not one time. I'm not the type to like stand up to my man and like try to like, you know, try his gangster or whatever. Like, I'm just not the type. Because when I was growing up, like, I didn't watch my parents fight. I didn't grow up with a group of girls as my friends that fought guys, you know, like that just wasn't in my culture, you know what I'm saying, of growing up. So I remember one time we was arguing about, you know, that whole situation and how I felt like he was being disingenuous. I was literally sitting on the couch talking, right? And y'all know, like, if you, I don't know, if you be around me or if you watch my vlogs or whatever, you can see my mannerisms can be kind of like tomboyish, right? So I was sitting in the chair like this, like, you know, just talking to him, like, you know, trying to keep my voice low, because it took me a minute to actually start screaming. Like, he would start screaming off rip, but it would take me like maybe like 5 to 10 minutes to actually start raising my voice, because I would, you know, be at like a monotone for like, you know, the first half or the first 5 minutes of the argument, because I would really be trying to be logical. Like, I'm trying to be logical, like, you know what I'm saying? So I was sitting down and he was standing up over me like, why you sitting like that? You sitting like a man. You sitting like you masculine. And I'm just like, dog, it don't matter what I do or how I try to come across or how I try to communicate. Everything is wrong to him. I'm too masculine all the time. I'm too angry. I'm a bully apparently. He used to call me abusive for putting up boundaries for myself. Like, I couldn't do nothing right. I couldn't do nothing right. And the thing is, when I talk to other girls or when I see other girls' story times on TikTok and stuff like that, these girls be going in on their boyfriends. They be punching them, they be slapping them, they be running their boyfriends over with cars. Like, they do all this stuff, and I wasn't even doing 10% of that. But because I'm sitting down like this, oh, now I'm a man, now I'm masculine, right? So at that point, I started to like really like feel some type of way, because at this point, like, I'm letting you do you. I'm letting you be a man, be a king. You know, I'm letting you explore your options. I'm not tripping over you. I'm not trying to monitor what y'all are doing. I'm not trying to police nothing. And you're literally manipulating her. You're laughing about the stuff that she thinks is genuine moments in between y'all. And y'all, I was realizing that that situation would just, it just wasn't it. Like, it just wasn't it. It wasn't the loving, open, divine experience that I thought it was going to be. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of like I was just giving a lame an opportunity to have two girlfriends, like literally. So, one night, me and the girl and him go out. This is the first time I'm meeting her. This is after like 2.5 months or whatever. First time I'm meeting her. Mind you, before this time, me and the girl been texting, sharing music, um, supporting each other, online. When he would go on a date with her, I would give him some of my intention oils to give to her. Like I was giving her like clothes that I couldn't fit, that I bought offline that I never wore. Maybe she can fit these or whatever. Like I was really like already exchanging love with her, exchanging energy with her before I met her. So the night we met, we went downtown and we had a great time. Now, mind you, I'm thinking this girl was like real dainty, real, I guess spiritual, real, like this dainty, real feminine, right? And when I was around her when she was drunk, she was real kind of hood. She was real, like me. She was kind of like ratchet a little bit, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, oh, I didn't know she had that type of personality. Like she cussing and she talking about this, she gossiping, she doing all this stuff, right? And I'm just like, she cool. Like, I'm glad that she's, comfortable around me enough to, bring that side of her out. So me and this girl, we get drunk, with the guy, and we're just at this club. We're just laughing, having a ball. When I tell you, me and this girl, we connected that night. Like we was laughing up a storm together. I mean, dying laughing. You know what? When you have that friend, when y'all link up, all y'all do is just crack jokes and laugh. That was how me and her dynamic was on day one. So I'm thinking in my head, oh, I love this girl. I can definitely see myself, being in a relationship with her and getting to know her and being her best friend and stuff like that. Like I can see it. So during that night, now I know how fragile my ex's ego was. Everything offended him. Everything made him feel emasculated. I mean, everything. So when me and her were laughing together, I, looked at him and I realized that he wasn't really engaged with us at all. And he was like looking like a third wheel or something. Like he was acting like he was a third wheel. And, I didn't say nothing at the time, but I remember thinking like, I hope he don't think that like, I'm gonna like, I don't know, take her away from him or, I'm going to get closer to her than him. Like, because the way he was looking in that moment when me and her were cracking up, it just seemed like he wasn't with us. It just seemed like he was kind of just like, like, okay, these two girls are laughing. I'm just like, on the outside. That's how his energy was. And that was confirmed. Okay. The universe always confirms. That was confirmed a few days or whatever after that, when he was like, no, maybe it was the next day. He was like, yeah, I never seen that side of her before. And I was like, yeah, like she real cool, she real funny. And he was like, yeah, when she's around me, she'll never act like that, right? And it started to come to my attention that she was actually putting on a front for him, being this extra dainty, feminine, spiritual girl. But when she was around me, that's when her real personality came out, or the other side of her personality came out, right? And he was like, yeah, she never act like that around me. And I was like, well, you know how girls get when they get around other girls, like we act more like, ourselves, or we start to act like tomboys or whatever. But when we're around guys, we tend to be more like, okay, So I was just trying to get him, to understand that. And he was like, okay, whatever. But I can tell that he didn't like how she was acting when she was with me. Like he wanted her to stay in this like submissive, feminine role. You know what I'm saying? He didn't want her to be another me. But I can't control that girl's personality. Like when she drinks, she get ratchet. Like, I don't know what to say. You know what I'm saying? So then he says, I want to protect you guys from each other. What does that mean? I'm like, what you mean? He's like, I don't know. I just want to protect you guys from each other, And I'm thinking in my head, oh, okay. So I already know what's going on. Because I know what's going on. He doesn't want me and this girl to get too close. He knows that our relationship is going to progress very quickly. And he doesn't want us communicating. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he was afraid that I might have told her something about him to make him look bad or something, or, whatever he thought would happen. But he basically was insinuating that he wanted to have separate relationships with us. Like, I wouldn't mind if y'all never, cross paths, or if y'all never, you know, uh, whatever came together. Like, I'm cool with my relationship with both of y'all separately. Like, and I'm just thinking in my head, like, why does he want to keep us apart from each other? You know what I'm saying? And that was even more confirmation that he was doing some dirty work behind the scenes. Okay. So now, I promise, guys, this story is coming to the end. So this is probably like 3 months into her being in our relationship, right? He books Airbnb on Labor Day weekend. So mind you, I haven't done nothing sexual with this girl, like nothing. Like, we're just strictly getting to know each other, right? Like, because I'm actually trying to respect her, you know? Um, I'm sorry, I missed something. That the same night that I met her, she came back to our apartment and she spent the night. Now, once again, I didn't want to have a threesome with her because, number one, I didn't want to make her feel like a sex toy. And I didn't want her to feel like, oh, we just wanted you here, to F you and have threesomes or whatever. I was actually trying to get to know this girl, right? So we're in my bed, right? And he's in between us, like trying to like kiss me and kiss her and trying to like get us to like touch him and stuff like that. And I felt so violated because me and him did not agree upon this. You did not tell me, when she gets back, would you like to have a threesome or whatever. Like, you never ran that across me. So you're basically like, I kind of felt like he was just treating me like, I don't know, like a hoe. You know what I'm saying? And I turn around, like, now my back is to them, and I'm laying down like this because number one, I'm appalled. I feel violated. I feel violated because you're trying to coerce me into a sexual act with you and this girl. And number one, she never got checked. We don't know where this girl came from. And me and you never got my permission for this. Like, this is my body we're talking about. Like, you want me to swap juices with this girl and you never even asked me if I was ready to take that step. So I felt hurt. Like, I was hurt. You know what I'm saying? I felt violated. So I'm laying down looking at the TV, and like, I don't know what was going on behind me, but I heard like so I don't know if they were kissing. I don't know if she was giving him head. I don't know what was going on. But I literally felt like I was like in a room that was like closing in on me. Like, I felt so violated. I felt so violated. And I had my head turned to the TV and I was crying. I was crying. I wasn't crying loud, you know what I'm saying? It was just tears coming down my eyes. I wasn't like, because I don't want them to hear me. But I was crying because I felt so violated. And like, they were trying to wake me up, or he was trying to wake me up. And he was like, damn, you sleep. And I was like trying to act sleep or whatever. And after that moment, I was like, he doesn't have respect for her, and he doesn't have respect for me. Because the first day I meet this girl, you want us to swap juices the day we meet. And I just didn't know how I felt about that, you know? Once again, I'm thinking that this is some type of divine connection. You know, we're gonna get together, we're gonna build, we're gonna support each other, we're gonna be there for one another, and you over here trying to force a threesome. So this is not the divine nature thing that I thought it was gonna be. You know, you just want to fulfill your own sexual desires. You know what I'm saying? And you want to get your ego fed. You know, so at this point, you know, I'm just like, dog, like, what is happening? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is happening? So the next day, he ends up saying, you know, um, basically like alluding that he wanted to have a threesome, but it didn't happen. So I didn't tell him that I felt violated. I didn't tell him that I didn't like how he went about it, but I was just like, you know, like, okay, like, you know, whatever. And he was like, you know, if I said if we wanted to have a threesome, you know, she would have been down for it. She would have been down. And I was like, oh really? Mm-hmm. Yeah, great. So you know, he's already painting her like she's a hoe too. Just like, God, this is insane. He's like, yeah, she would have been down for it. She would have been down if I would have told her, you know, we're about to have a threesome. She would have did it. She's a hoe. Anyways, so so it was crazy because like that night, like when he was trying to like coerce us to like, you know, kiss him, and you know, he was like telling us to like dudes like touch him and stuff like that. Like she was like acting so like giddy, like and I just remember thinking like I can't compete with this level of stupidity. Like I can't compete with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, she thinks that everything he's doing is so cute and funny. Meanwhile, I'm over here like, this nigga is lame as fuck. He's just acting so thirsty and so lame. And she's literally just eating it up, right? So I'm like, yo, this is about to be crazy, right? So, okay, so before the Labor Day situation, he was telling me, how when he goes to her house, one thing that he likes about her room is how feminine it is, and how, you know, she has plants all over the place and chakra stuff, and you know, he likes her femininity and stuff like that in her room, which is so crazy, right? Because when he moved into my apartment, I had all my spirituality stuff all over my walls. Same thing, plants, chakras, moons. I had all this stuff on my walls, paintings and stuff. And he told me, you know, I don't want to feel like I'm moving into your place. You know, like if I move in, you know, I want to make it feel like it's our place. So I said, you know, no problem. So I took all my stuff off the walls. Everything that represented me, I took it off my walls and I made everything white, like it was a new apartment, to give the illusion that we were getting a place together, because I was trying to soothe his ego, right? So the fact that he was like, yeah, that I just love this stuff about her and stuff like that, and it triggered me because number one, you have a bad habit of calling me masculine every time you sound stupid or you're losing a freaking argument. So the fact that you're saying, oh, I love this feminine stuff about her and blah blah blah, and I'm the one that took everything off my walls, everything that was about me, everything that, you know, described me and my aura, I took everything off to make you feel like you were moving into a new apartment, and now that's what you love about her. So I took that as a slap in the face. You know, I didn't mention it. Of course, I didn't mention it at that time. But, you know, that was on my mind. I felt really hurt by that. And it made me think like I should have never changed myself to make him feel comfortable. I should have never changed anything about me. I should have never changed anything about me to accommodate him. You know what I'm saying? Because everything that I changed or that I tried to do, it was weaponized against me anyway. So, anyways, back to present story time. So he gets us an Airbnb on Labor Day weekend so we can get to know each other on a deeper level. So we can, talk about our inner traumas, or, we can bond or whatever. So we went to the Airbnb and we got like this vegan pizza. We had a bottle or maybe some wine or something like that. And we were just chilling. So I introduced a game where I was like, for us to get to know each other, let's just ask each other questions. And I was like, let's make the first question like, what are our biggest fears? And all of us have to answer. And then all of us answered or whatever. And then the second question was, what are your boundaries, right? And I said my boundaries first, like I'll never, allow this to happen or whatever, da da da. This is supposed to be a healthy, relationship, a healthy poly relationship. So, it shouldn't be no problem talking about your boundaries, right? But once again, I was doing this with the wrong guy. So, I'm like, what are your boundaries? So it started with her. So she's like, what do you mean boundaries? And I'm like, like boundaries, like I'm like, what are your boundaries? Like, what would you never allow someone to do to you? Or what is a deal breaker for you? She's like, I don't know. Like, I never thought about it like that. And she was like, I don't know. Maybe I have to get back to you on that. I don't really know. That's the moment I realized, okay, I see why he likes her. She's a dumbass. I see it now. I see it. She's desperate for a relationship. She's desperate for his approval. She's already telling this man she's in love with him. He never even said it back. She's buying him food. Now all of a sudden she's acting like she don't know what boundaries are. Okay. That's the moment I realized I can't compete with this. I can't. And I never wanted, I not literally compete, because I was never competing with her, but because I know how immature he is and how he's already been triangulating us, the fact that she's so blind, rightfully so, right? Because she hasn't seen his bad side yet. There's no competing. Girl, you got it. Because at this point, I know he loves girls like that. I know he loves slow girls. I know he loves stupid girls. I'm so sorry. I hate to say this, but the girls that he was talking to before, I saw them. I met one of them. She was slow. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. So Kelly said, if one hasn't mastered monogamy, poly anything is doomed. No, seriously, that's a jealousy problem. I think he did say it back and lied about it. I think he did say it back and lied about it. Wait, say what back? Say what back? So yeah, once that moment happened, I was like, oh yeah, she's one of them ones. Okay, I see what's going on here. I see exactly why he likes her. So I didn't say nothing, This like half of the story is the thoughts in my brain, honestly. So we're about to go to sleep, right? We're laying down, and he leaves the room for a second, and me and her are in the bed together. I love you to her when she said it. Oh, I think he did say it back and lied about it. Okay. That could have been true. Yeah, that definitely could be true. So when he left the room for a second, I looked at her and I was like, hey, can we like not have a threesome tonight? And she was like, oh, she was like, yeah, I wasn't even planning on doing that. She's like, it's fine, I'm on my period anyway. I was like, okay, good, because really, I just wanted to get to know her. I just wanted to chill. And I didn't want it to be sexually charged. Like, I already had an issue in the relationship where sex was like a very huge requirement for him. So a lot of times I did the do in that relationship. I felt obligated to. I wasn't in the mood to like 80% of the time I was not in the mood to. Um I couldn't even just walk around with like my underwear on, like feeling comfortable without him thinking that it was like an initiation from me or something like that. So he was so sexually charged that I just didn't want this night to be that. And then he already tried to coerce a threesome with us the first day we met. So I'm just like, I just want tonight to just be a night where we get to know each other. So she was like, yeah, I'm on my period anyway. I wasn't planning on doing that. And I was like, okay, good, good. So he comes back and we're laying down. At this point, we've been up all night. We've been smoking, drinking, playing games and stuff. And it's like 5 a.m. And we're talking about something. Like, mind you, when this guy gets drunk, he be talking like he's a prophet, right? He just be like, just saying stuff, like with conviction, right? I'm like, here you go with his little junk rant again. But I was like, I'm just listening to him, whatever. She's asleep. She's passed out. And all of a sudden, just like clockwork, his drunk rant turns on to me. And he's trying to bring up a conflict that we had previously. But I'm going to tell you about this conflict, right? So basically, I was cool with this guy that I dated briefly. I dated him for like, I don't even know, 3 months or something. Nothing long. Like we was cool. We were dating, but then we became friends and we never got back on that page again. And I told him, now that I'm with, my new boyfriend or whatever, I want you to, respect my boundaries, and I still want to be cool with you, but I just don't want, you can't even flirt with me. Like, I'm going to have to cut you off. And he respected that. Surprisingly, he respected that. And he never tried me since, right? And the only reason why I wanted to keep him around as a friend, because we just talked about like a lot of stuff together, like music. Like he would teach me a few things about this and that, and he was like one of those friends that just added value. Like, I don't know, like I'm not friends with every single guy I dated because most of them don't add value, but he was just one of those people where it's like, you know what, even though we tried to talk and it didn't really work out, we can still be cool. Like I still like you. You cool. So, yeah, so my ex was basically saying that, oh, I don't want you being friends with him at first or whatever. Or no, I think it was like just questioning our relationship or whatever. And I was telling him the nature of it. I was trying to be as transparent as possible, right? And he was like, okay, well, you can still be cool with him, but he was like, don't ever meet up with him in real life. You should have no reason to meet up with him. Y'all can be cool, online or whatever. And when you're copping shrooms from him. And I said, okay, cool. Like, that's no problem. Like, I literally have no problem with that. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't fighting him on that or nothing. I said, okay, cool. So after that conversation, I had an opportunity to practice that, right? We were planning to go in nature and do a shroom trip together one day. So I was telling him, I want to cop some shrooms from the guy. He said, okay, cool. But he was like, make sure he puts them underneath the doormat. Don't open the door for him and don't be interacting. I said, okay, cool, no problem. So that's what I did. He came, he dropped the shrooms off in the should I be saying this? Am I gonna get demonetized or whatever? Anyways, so he came, he dropped them off under the mat, and he left, and I did not meet him face to face. So he knew that interaction happened because I told him, I got it, I didn't, we didn't see each other, I did exactly what you said, and we was cool. We was cool about it. Like, we were in agreement with that. Now, fast forward back to the Airbnb. So he starts bringing this subject up, right? And he's like, oh, mind you, he's drunk. You're still cool with niggas that you fucked and da 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 and da da da. I can't. You acting sneaky and da da da, like saying all this stuff out of nowhere. And I'm like, what the? Here we go again. Here we go again. Twilight Zone all over again. He's like, just going off or whatever. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, please, not here, not now. Please, God, not here, not right now. And I'm like, bruh. I said his name, but I don't want to say his name in the video. I was like, we already talked about this. Like, I don't know if you're not recalling, but we already talked about this, right? And I was talking low because the girl was sleeping right beside him. And this is the first time or the second time we've been in the same vicinity together. So why are you trying to start an argument with me in front of her? Like, why are you doing this right here, right now? Out of nowhere, right? I'm like, we already talked about this. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to keep it quiet, like, already talked about this. And he's like, well, it's just not sitting well with me. It's not sitting well with me, and just continues to go off, right? Mind you, his voice just continues to elevate. It just gets louder and louder and louder. And at this point, I'm like, this girl's about to wake up and see us arguing. I'm like, I'm about to take myself away from the situation before it gets any worse. So I walk out the room. I walk to the other room and I'm like, I'm just going to leave. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have no issue. Like, but I just know that we're not going to settle this tonight. And I'm not trying to get in a screaming match with you in front of this girl. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, we can talk about this later. I'm about to go home. Here he go in his narcissistic rage attack. And he starts stomping around the Airbnb. You're disrespectful. Why are you leaving? It's like a flashback from the very first argument about the COVID mask, right? You're disrespectful. Why are you leaving? I bought this Airbnb so we can have a good time, and you want to leave now? Da 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 da. Just going off. And I'm in the other room, just calling my Airbnb. I'm like, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this, right? So I call my Uber. So he comes in the room and he's like, can we please just talk about this? And I'm like, listen, like, I don't feel like, shut the fuck up. And he walks out the room. Whatever. Still waiting on my Uber. He comes back in the room. Can we please just talk about this just for 5 minutes? I'm like, I know we're not going to settle. Shut the fuck up. And he walks out the room again. I'm like, yo, there's no cooling him off. There's no cooling him off. We're not going to get to a conclusion. You're already drunk and on 1,000. And I'm not doing this with you in front of her. I'm just not doing it. I'm not doing it. So, yeah, I'm in the room waiting on my Uber. And y'all, tell me why I heard this man crying in the other room. And I look like through the window, and the girl is like rubbing his back, like, And I'm just like, bruh. I'm like, narcissists are a special type of people. For real. I don't even know how to describe the motivation of his actions that night. I don't understand what motivated him. What was the motivation? What did you want the outcome to be? I just don't understand it. So right before I left, I tried to give him a hug, but he's standing there like a 5-year-old, his face all red. I'm giving him a hug. I gave him a kiss on the cheek. I said, listen, we're going to talk about this later. I said, I don't want to talk about this now. We were having a good night and you're ruining it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I'm going to see you later. So I gave him a half hug, whatever. I gave her a hug and I left. And I went back to my apartment and I was watching TV, eating food, eating my grapes with the yogurt and the granola on top with the cinnamon, and I was having a great morning. Okay. Now, another point of the story where a lot of girls will probably think, girl, are you dumb? You left him in that emotional state with another woman to comfort him? But once again, I was not thinking on that frequency. I was thinking that she was a teammate and me and him were having an issue, so I don't mind her comforting you. I don't have a controlling spirit like that. I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know. I didn't know. So I'm just like, I appreciate her, you know what I'm saying, for comforting him because he was obviously crashing out, you know? But now when I think back on it, I probably should have never left them together because of what I'm about to say now. So I'm expecting him to, call the night quits. I mean, call quits on the night and cut it short and, drop her home and come back home to talk to me about the situation. He doesn't come home until like 5 o'clock that day, right? 5 p.m. that day. Which, I didn't like that, but I was like, whatever. Who cares? Whatever. So he comes back and he once again has this, shameful type look, right? Like he's making the walk of shame into the house. And just by his energy, I'm just like, he was talking shit. I know he was. I know he was trying to make me look bad in front of her. I know he was probably fabricating the story, trying to make it seem like I'm a cheater or I'm untrustworthy. So, when he came in, we didn't say nothing to each other at first. Like he was like trying to give me the silent treatment, but I didn't give a fuck because I was literally like chilling in my own, aura. And he came, finally to the room. And I was like, how you been? And he was like, good, or whatever. I was like, so what'd you and Jordan? Oh God, y'all, I didn't mean to say that. I was like, so what did you and the girl do? And he was like, oh, we just went out to Waffle House and we were just talking and stuff. And I was like, so what were y'all talking about? Because I knew he was talking shit about me. I was like, what were y'all talking about? He was like, we were talking about some stuff or whatever. And I'm like, were y'all talking about me? And he was like, a little bit, but not really. A little bit, but not really. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I didn't even ask because I already knew what he was doing. I knew he was dirty macking. I knew he was trying to make me look bad. I knew he was trying to turn her against me. I already knew, right? I said, the only way this poly thing is going to work is if me and her like each other and me and her have a trust and a true friendship with one another. But if you're going to her talking about me and trying to make it seem like I'm some type of untrustworthy person, and I'm pretty sure you did not give her the whole story about how you gave me a rule and you gave me stipulations and I abided by those rules and those stipulations. I'm like, if you're going, between us, doing all this manipulation, all this gossiping and doing all this stuff, I said, you're going to ruin the relationship. It's not going to work if you're doing that. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to make me and her go against each other. You're going to make her think that she's like trying to save you from me or something. Or you're going to make her think that she has to like save you from this relationship. Or, you know what I'm saying? That she has to be a better woman than me to heal you. And that's not the case. So I told him, whatever you're saying to her or whatever you done already said, I said, I already forgive you, but do not keep doing this because you're going to make her not like me. You're going to make her think that I'm a cheater or that I'm incompetent or that I don't deserve you or something like that. And I said, if you keep doing that, you're going to ruin this relationship, right? So, he's claiming that, he didn't, spread no bad, he didn't gossip about me or whatever, which I knew he was lying. But I was like, I just wanted to plant that seed in his mind, because you're going to ruin this. You're already ruining it. You know what I'm saying? You started a random argument with me out of nowhere about something that was already resolved, settled, and marinated weeks ago. So I don't know what you're doing, but just stop. Just stop. Right? And I was like, why are you like, I don't know. Okay. So after that conversation, when I told him, you're going to ruin this if you keep on moving the way you're moving, right? He said, okay, or whatever. So, another time he went out with her alone this time, right? Oh man, that wasn't even the end. Okay, so the next morning, I ended up texting her, I apologize, or this is the day after. I texted her, I apologize, for all that commotion that night. And, I would never want you to see me and him in that state, blah, blah, blah. Like, I literally sent her an apology. And she was like, it's okay, I understand. She was like, I just want to make sure that, no one is gonna hurt him. I was like, are you referring to me? Well, I just want to make sure that no one is gonna hurt him, and I just want to be there for him, and blah, blah, blah. And so I said, okay. So she already thinks that she's the savior. Okay. Well, I'm gonna let you know what really happened. So I told her the story. I told her what he told me to do, and I basically said, and I respected what he said, and I did it, and he brought that up that night out of nowhere for no reason. And I said that when he's drunk, he does that a lot. When he's drunk, he gets in these rages, and that's just what he does. You know what I'm saying? So, she's over here like defending him. Like, well, if you know that he gets like that when he drinks, how come you never told him to stop? Bitch, you think I never told this nigga to stop drinking? Like, the stuff that she was saying, you guys, Twilight Zone. I'm like, I was lost for words. You really think that you're telling me something I don't know? You really think you're putting me on game? You really think I never told him to stop spazzing out and stop drinking? Like, what do you mean? Have you told him to stop drinking? He's a 32-year-old man. You think anything that I say can really persuade his habits that he's been indulging in since high school? Getting drunk since high school? I'm like, yeah, I did tell him not to drink. I did. Now what? You're gonna be the difference now? You're gonna well, I didn't say this. But, in my mind, I'm like, you're going to be the one to tell him, oh, stop drinking. And magically, he's just going to stop drinking. So she already pissed me off. Right? So that night, I ended up having another conversation with her because it just did not sit well with me. Like, it just was not sitting well with me. So, that night, I was basically telling her, like, the problems that we were having in our relationship and how me and her can work together in order to make this work. Because in all actuality, like, if me and her weren't in agreement, or if she wasn't put on game about what was happening, there was no way she could really help him. Because if you're blaming me for his alcohol problem and his anger issues, you're not actually helping him. You're just validating his little boy feelings, and you're going against the woman that really has his back, that really be cooking for him every day, that really be cleaning after him, that really uplifts him, that really be supporting his career. Like the whole foundation of this. You're going against me because all he wanted from you was a little pat on the back and some validation, but now you're thinking that you're coming in as the savior. But that, once again, that wasn't her fault. That was his fault. That was his fault. Because that's what lame niggas do. Right? So, I told her, about the problems that we were having and stuff like that, and how I feel like she should at least listen to what I'm saying before she tries to make him a victim. And I'm like, if me and you aren't like in cahoots, if we're not understanding each other, or if you don't trust me, you know what I'm saying? I told her this. I said, he's going to ruin this situation because he already did that night. That was just a taste of what was to come in the future. You know what I'm saying? I said he was going to ruin it. And, she ended up saying, well, I appreciate you for talking to me, Empress. I appreciate you for opening up to me and blah, 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 saying all this stuff to try to comfort me, right? My sister wife, right? Okay. I left it at that. So another weekend, he ends up going out with her, right? And at this point, I'm so used to spending my weekends alone because they've been going out every weekend for like 3 months straight now, that I'm on my own spiritual journey, okay? I'm over here fasting. I was vegan at this time. I was journaling every day. I was like really like on my shit for real. And it started to like, make it clear to me, like, I actually like this dynamic. Like at first I thought that I would be sad to not get all of his attention and all of his time. But I'm realizing that I actually like having Saturday nights to myself sometimes. I save money. I don't always have to think, what can me and him do, me and him. My Saturdays became more about me and my Sunday mornings, So I was liking it. Crazy, right? I was liking it. So he comes home one Sunday morning, right? And that night, I ended up going to this hole in the wall with my homegirl. Like we went to this bar. It was like older. It was an older crowd. I didn't put on no makeup. Like it really wasn't like a scene like that. Like it was in Gwinnett. So we went out. We talked all night. I didn't even drink. Like I just had some wings or whatever, or some fries or something. And then we talked all night. And then I went back home. So the next morning he comes back, and him and the girl went on that date. So I'm already hip to this. I already know. So I got the house clean, everything was smelling good. I was looking good, smelling good, because I just love treating him like a king. I just loved it. Like I loved it. So when he came home, everything looked nice or whatever. And I was like, hey, how was your night? Did you tell the girl I said, hey? At this point, me and the girl have a rapport, right? So I'm like, did you tell her I said, hey? He was like, yeah, whatever. So I'm like, okay. I was like, and me and so-and-so went out, last night. I'm just telling him about my night too. I'm like, we went to this hole in the wall in Gwinnett and, it was cool, whatever. I went out last night. And he was like, you went out, like looking all confused and like weird. And I'm like, yeah, I went out. And I didn't think it was a problem because, first of all, he had my location on his phone. My location was on his phone, turned on 24/7, 7 days a week. So if you had an issue about where I was, you could easily look at your phone. And I just told you where I was. So obviously I wasn't trying to hide anything. Like I was like bringing it up like regular conversation, right? So I'm like, yeah, I went out to so-and-so last night. And he was like, you didn't tell me you was going out. And I was like, honestly, I didn't think I had to. Like, you went out. You know what I'm saying? You was with a whole girl. Like, you went on a date. Y'all probably, you know what I'm saying? And now you're here. And he was like, don't say it like that. Don't say that. Don't say that. And I really think that he was irked when I said, y'all be effing. Like, you went out, you effed her, and then you came home. I think that really irked him, right? So he was like, don't say that, da da da. And he was basically like saying how like I was being sneaky and I didn't let him know that I was leaving and I could be cheating. And he was like, he was like, do you give your numbers to men? And I was like, no. You know what I'm saying? And then he was like, well, do you give your Instagram out? Because that's cheating too. That's cheating too. And I said, you know what? At first I was going back and forth with him, but then I said, I stopped because I knew all this was projection, right? I said, what are you doing with that girl? I said, what are you doing with her? What are you doing with her? Because why are you coming at me like this? You know what I'm saying? You have my location and I just brought it up in a regular casual conversation. So obviously I was not trying to hide nothing from you. So what are you doing? Because you're obviously projecting your insecurities or whatever you're doing behind closed doors onto me. He's like, what do you mean? I'm not doing nothing, da da da. I'm like, are you afraid to say you're in love with this girl or something? I'm like, if you love her, just love her. Like, stop trying to like start drama with me because you feel guilty about what you're doing. We agreed to be in a poly relationship. So if you're loving this girl or falling in love or whatever I think you're doing or whatever, I said you can lean into that, my guy. Lean into that. I want you to be happy. I want you to love her. I want her to love you. You act like you cheating or something. You have this guilty conscience like you're a cheater or something. So I'm like, if you love her, I say you need to lean into that. I promote that. I agree with that. I want you to do that because you coming home and trying to say that I'm doing sneaky stuff and blah blah blah. Like this not gonna last. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna keep doing that to me. And there was other situations where he would like, insinuate that I was cheating. Like when I went on vacation with my mother to Puerto Rico, he was asking me if I was giving out my number, like doing weird stuff like that. So then I was like, or if you're talking about me with her, I said, you need to stop because obviously you're the one with the guilty conscience, right? So I'm going, I completely diverted the whole arguing point to him projecting and him deflecting, right? So he's like, defending himself. I only speak highly of you, da 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 da, lying, right? And I'm like, you know what? I said, do you give me permission to go through your phone? When I say this story, I really sound like a soft ass little girl because any other girl on this planet would have took the phone and been like, what is this man doing? I literally asked him for permission. I was like, do you give me permission to go through your phone? Because I need to see what you and this girl is talking about. I need to see why you're coming home projecting on me. Why are you coming home spazzing on me? I've never gave you any reason to think that I wasn't trustworthy, that I was looking for attention from men or whatever. Like, what are you and this girl talking about? I knew he was feeding her lies and love bombing her and doing all this future faking and stuff like that. So he was like, yeah, you can go through. Basically, he gave me permission, right? Like, you can go through my phone, but, I'm just mad that you don't trust me as your man. I'm like, just. So at that time, I didn't go through the phone, okay? Probably because he gave me permission, right? Okay, so I seen some comments coming. Okay, so Sam said, hi, can I ask if your ex-narc randomly tells you to meet at night with the baby? Okay. Is that a Hoover? Oh, hold on. I'll get back to that. Okay, Kelly said, you are a projector. You need time alone. Of course you enjoyed it. Man, what? I was like, this ain't that bad. Also said, case in point about what I said about mastering monogamy earlier. Yeah, it was going straight down the drain. Straight down the drain. So yeah, so this situation, I was basically saying, whatever you're doing, I say you need to stop. Because this coming home and projecting on me and calling me a cheater and doing all this weird I'm like, this is not going to keep on happening. So I'm like, whatever you're doing, I said, stop now. I said, I already forgive you. And if you're falling in love with her, but you feel guilty about it, I said, I give you permission to lean into it. Okay? Because I don't know why you feel guilty or what you're trying to cover up, but you bringing hell to my life and chaos to my life, this is not going to keep happening. Okay? So that argument, kind of ended or whatever, right? Now I needed help with my suite that same night. So I asked him for help first. But then when we got in that argument, I was like, whatever, I'll just call my dad instead. So I called my dad, and me and my dad met up at my shop, and then he came right behind my dad. So I'm thinking, oh, okay, so I guess he still came to help or whatever. So he came to help, I'm not gonna lie, that kind of turned me on or whatever, because we just got in an argument, but you still want to help me, move my stuff. So I was like, okay. I was like, whatever. I was like, gentlemen, like, whatever. I didn't realize that there was an underlying motive to that. He wasn't coming to, be there through thick and thin. He wasn't coming to help me with my stuff, to make a statement like, I'm your man. Even if we argue, I'm still going to help you. This is what happened. After they helped me move my stuff out, my dad, he went home before. My dad pulled me to the side and said, so-and-so been telling me that, what you're doing is not what men like, and it's not gonna, help your relationship last long or whatever. And I said, what? Like, this nigga got my dad drinking the Kool-Aid too? So I'm like, what you talking about, right? He's like, he told me that you went out and, you can't be in a relationship and just go out like that. And he told me that you had, like he basically told my dad like about a sexual experience that I had like 7 years prior. Told my dad this, right? And my dad was like, yeah, and he told me that you did this one time and, da-da-da. And, I just, I'm just disappointed in you and stuff like that. And I was shocked. I was like, I thought this nigga was coming here to be chivalrous. He came here to gossip with my dad and tell my dad about a sexual experience I had 7 years prior, trying to make it seem like I was like a hoe or something. Like I was going out to try to get male attention or whatever the case may be. And I did not want to get my dad in our mix, but I had to, because whatever you told my dad, whatever Kool-Aid you got my dad drinking, now I have to set it straight so he can know really what's happening. So me and my dad come to my shop when I first got here, and I was telling him what really happened. I was like, first of all, I wasn't even saying this really to expose the polygamy. I was just saying how he was being insecure and he was projecting on me, basically. So I was like, yeah, he went out, with the girl, and they had fun, and all I did was go out with my friend, and he has my location, and I was telling him all that. And then my dad was like, hold on. He was like, he has another woman? And I was like, I mean, yeah, like we have a girlfriend, like da-da-da. And my dad was like, he was like, stop. He was like, stop right there. He was like, why would you let him have another woman? And I was like, I mean, I don't know. Like, at that point, I started to feel a little nervous because I'm like, shit, am I in trouble? I started to feel like a high schooler at that point. I was like, I mean, I don't know. Like, it was both of our idea. I didn't think it was, gonna be bad or whatever. And he was like, Zakia, he was like, this is going to ruin y'all's relationship. He was like, you do not need to be sharing no man with no woman. And he was like, he's not even mature enough for that. And I was telling him how, I just wanted it to be like a natural relationship. And I wanted to treat the man, like a king and have him in his primitive state. And my dad was like, what? He was like, he ain't no king. He was like, he ain't no king. And I was like, oh my God. I know I just spilled too much tea to my dad just now. Jesus Christ. So yeah, my dad was not feeling that. He was not feeling that. He was like, this is going to be the end of y'all relationship if you don't stop this right now. He was basically like, yeah, like this is the beginning of the end. And I was, I was sad to hear that, you know what I'm saying? But whatever, apparently he knew what he was talking about in the end. So in that same conversation, I was then even defending the relationship, right? I was like, me and the girl, we already know each other. We're already cool. Like I was like literally defending it, right? It went from me defending myself to now defending him. Girl, like my dad was not having it. So I felt a little bit awkward in that moment, right? But then I was thinking in my head, like, he never told my dad any of this, like my dad is over here telling me, so-and-so told me that he wants to marry you. And, like telling me like conversations that they had. Out of all those conversations, because him and my dad were doing jobs together. They were making money together. My dad was putting him on his carpentry jobs or whatever because he needed some money. And him and my dad would just be talking all the time. So they built like a solid friendship. Out of all the whole year you was working with my dad, you ain't never wanted to tell my dad that, the girl existed or she was in the picture. You didn't tell my dad because you were trying to hide that from my dad. Okay? That's why when my dad heard it, I said it so fluidly and he was shocked and highly disappointed. So, so later, I think like the next day or maybe that same night or something like that, my ex ended up asking me, did you tell your dad about, the poly? And I said, yeah, I did. You know what I'm saying? I didn't tell my dad that to get my ex in trouble. You know what I'm saying? I told him that because I wanted him to get the full story because you tried to manipulate my dad and tell him some type of half-truth story. So I had to tell my dad what was really happening. And he was like, why did you tell your dad that? And I'm like, why did you tell my dad? You know what I'm saying? Why did you get my dad into this? Like, hello? And he was like, I was going to tell your dad on my own time. You're a liar. You are a liar. You was never finna tell my dad that. But yeah, I was like, yeah, I had to tell my dad because you told him a story that had my dad thinking that I was some type of person and that I wasn't a good partner and stuff like that. So I had to tell him what was really going on. So he was like, I can't believe you told your dad that. I was going to tell your dad on my own time, blah, blah, blah. And I did not care because, well, you shouldn't have been gossiping with my dad. Okay? You shouldn't have been gossiping then. So, yeah. So remember the time I told him that I asked him if I can go through his phone and he told me that I did have permission, but I didn't go through it that night. I was starting to get that feeling again, right? So one night we had this big argument because he just kept on making my life a living hell. It just kept on getting worse and worse and worse. The arguments, it went back to like, the beginning of the relationship. We was arguing like cats and dogs. He started to have all these random trust issues all of a sudden, right? And I just kept on trying to explain to him that you may not be able to handle this because you keep projecting on me. You're coming home, making my life a living hell, talking smack about her, and then going to her house every Saturday night to bust it down, right? You're not even spending Sundays with this girl, and you're coming home and starting arguments with me. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? So we was arguing about that. And I was basically saying like, I don't want to be in my position no more. Tell her to cook your meals. Tell her to wash your clothes. Tell her to clean your studio. Tell her to, da da da. And I was like, let me be the fun girl. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, let me switch spots because you're making my life a living hell being here. Being the first woman, being your main girl is a living hell for me. You're making it a living hell for me. So, listen, one thing about me, I prioritize my peace. I don't give a about being a man's first girl or his first true love or his first this or his main that. If you're abusing me, if it takes abuse for me to be in this position, I don't want to be here. Let's switch. Let her take on all my responsibilities of taking care of your ass, of taking care of you physically and emotionally. Let her take care of that. Let me be the weekend girl. Let me be the weekend girl. I will gladly switch spots with her. So, I was saying all that stuff to him and stuff like that. And I was saying like how he's controlling and blah, blah, blah. And, I was just going off on him, right? So that night we ended up coming to an agreement, right? Because I'm always trying to come up with solutions. I was like, you know what? I forgive her, for whatever, like trying to make it seem like, I didn't have your best interest at heart and I just want to talk to her and let's just move past this and blah, blah, blah. I know it's uncomfortable for both of us. And I was really trying to like move forward and be solution based, right? So we ended up, being cool that night after the argument. We ended up getting back on one accord and we went to sleep. We told each other we loved each other. We had a good night, and we fell asleep. And the next morning, I was woken up out my sleep. I've experienced certain inexplicable spiritual type experiences in my life. I have certain stories. Not a lot of them, just like a handful of stories of things that were just like outer body or like, things I can't really explain how that happened, but I felt it and I seen it and it really happened to me or I really experienced it. I literally woke up out my sleep with this heavy feeling. It was like the heaviest conviction to go through his phone. It was like, I'm not gonna say it was a voice in my head, but it was like a feeling. And it was my thoughts like, go through his phone, go through his phone, go through his phone, go through his phone. And when I tell you guys, my chest was tight. I didn't even expect that because the night before, yeah, we were getting into that argument, but when he told me I could go through his phone, that was like 2 weeks prior. I was like a week or two prior. And after we got in that argument, we ended up coming to a conclusion. We ended up kissing, having a good night. And we ended up telling each other, I love you, good night. We ended it off good. So the fact that I woke up, my chest was tight. My chest was heavy. And I had these thoughts in my head. It was a heavy feeling. It was a heavy feeling. And I'll never forget that because it was so, I just will never forget that. I knew that it was something higher. I knew it just wasn't my own thoughts. It was something higher than me. So I had that, my chest was tight and I woke up and I was just like, I looked at his phone and I was nervous because I was like, I never did this before. I was like, I never looked through a guy's phone before. Like, oh my God, what if he catches me? So I didn't really hesitate though. I got up, I took my phone off the charger. His phone off the charger, had it, put my phone on the charger, went to the bathroom, locked myself in the bathroom. I'm like, I want to see what these niggas is talking about. Go through his phone with his messages with her. And exactly what I think was happening. He's gaslighting her, love bombing her, telling her, I want you to be my wife. I'm about to get a house. Like, nigga, where? With what money? I'm about to get a house. And then as I scroll up, like, oh, and then she's saying stuff like, baby, I can't wait for you to come back. You know, don't worry. We're going to be together again soon. Like, saying stuff like that. Like, so I scroll up and I see screenshots of like a conversation and I click it. And remember that conversation that me and my sister wife had like a couple of weeks prior, when I was telling her that you need to listen to me and you need to trust me. I actually know him. I've been with him for 2 years. You don't know him. You know what I'm saying? And coddling him is not going to help the situation. Like, hello, like hello. So she screenshotted the entire conversation and sent it to him and was like, oh my God, she's delusional. She keeps on texting me. I just feel like going to sleep. And he's like, oh, thank you. You handled that with grace, or whatever he said. And he was like, I've never felt so protected by a woman in my life. And I'm just going through the messages and they're like literally conspiring against me. And he's just love bombing the crap out of her. And I'm just like I was so shocked, because it's one thing to speculate. You know, people are conspiring against you or talking about you or whatever. But to actually see it, y'all, I was gasping. I was looking at the messages like, like I was like reading like a exciting, like, I don't know, novel or something. I was just like, I just kept on gasping because I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, this nigga is really my op. He's really my op. And I was just looking through the text messages. I was seeing them talking about me and talking shit about me and stuff like that. And I just couldn't believe it. I was like, oh, this is the end. This is the end. We're done. We're done. We're done. And I went back in the room and I took the phone, and I'm just playing. I wish I did. I should have clocked him in the face with it. But I took the phone and I sent myself screenshots so I can remind myself, so I can never forget this. I sent them to myself and I put the phone on the bed and I was getting ready for work. I didn't say nothing. And as I was getting dressed, I guess he woke up, and checked his phone, and he saw the messages, screenshotted from his phone, sent to my number, and he looked like stunned. And he was like, you sent yourself these messages? And I was like, I didn't say nothing. I just kept on packing my stuff, whatever, getting ready for work. And I walked out. And as I was walking out my apartment, I looked to the side at my oven, and I seen 10:55, and I knew that was the end, because the last time I broke up with one of my other exes, I seen 55, and 55 represents change. It represents more things as well, like creativity and other things, but change is the main definition to me when I see it. So when I saw that, I was like, I woke up with that heavy feeling of conviction. Clearly God wanted to show me that. And he did. And he did. And after that, I was silent. I did break up with him, but I was still silent about it. I didn't go off on him or nothing. I was just like, let's just bow out gracefully. you know, you betrayed me, and, you know, there's no way I can be with you, basically. So I was cool about it, right? He didn't spend the night at our apartment for the next 3 nights. He was with the girl, and I didn't care, you know. The night he finally came back after those 3 days, I was expecting him to say something. Like, I was just mad. You know, I didn't mean all that. I'll set things straight. You know, give me another chance, like something. You know, when he got back, he was like trying to be nice to me. You know, he was like, you know, patting me on the head, like, you want something? You want to watch TV with me? I'm like, no. And I just wanted to give him a chance to do or say something, you know? And he just didn't. And I knew I shouldn't have brought this up because I knew it just wasn't going to go nowhere. But I was just going to try, you know? And I asked him, why did you send her those messages? You know, why are y'all talking about, why are you talking about doing all this stuff for her and starting like a new life with her and stuff like that, throwing me under the bus, talking smack about me? Like, everything that I said you were doing is literally what you were doing. And you swore to me that you were not, you know, gossiping about me, or that you weren't trying to make me look bad in front of her or whatever. And I'm like, just why? You know, like, why? Why are you trying to ruin this? Like, I don't understand why you're doing this. And he said something stupid, you know, something stupid. And I just went out the room. I just started crying because I just couldn't believe that he was literally taking everything and throwing it down the drain, you know, for a girl that you don't even know. And the thing is, y'all don't know each other because you're masking for her and she's masking for you. Like, it's just, it was like watching this from the inside, but also the outside. It's such a unique perspective because, like, if you're in a relationship and a guy, your boyfriend, betrays you or he cheats on you, you don't really get the inside scoop. You know what I'm saying? You don't really see what they're doing and see what they're saying to the girl and see how they're persuading the girl. Like, you don't ever see that part of it. But because we were in a poly relationship and he was talking to me like I was his homeboy, I was actually seeing the manipulation firsthand. I was seeing him like talking smack about her, laughing at her, like talking smack about her hygiene and stuff. Like, I was witnessing this from the inside. So it's not like I was his homeboy, you know what I'm saying, hearing this stuff and his girlfriend is out the loop. No, I was the homeboy and the girlfriend. So I'm seeing how he's just manipulating this whole thing, how he's triangulating me and her. And the only person that sees what he's doing is me. She is completely dumbfounded. She has no idea what he's doing. She's thinking that she's literally saving him from the relationship. So, you know, we get in this argument or whatever, and it doesn't go well. And I ended up kicking him out my apartment that morning. And it's crazy how, like, when I was like telling him stuff and accusing him of the stuff that he was doing, you know, he wasn't arguing with me no more. You know, like every other time for 2 years straight, you know, he was super combative. But in this situation, it was like his tail was tucked for the first time. He wasn't saying nothing. He was agreeable for the first time ever. I've never seen him this agreeable. I was telling him, you know, you owe me this. Send me this money right now. Send me this. You owe me this. Da da da. He was sending me money. It was like almost like he was scared of me. That day, he went to go do a job for my dad to cut down some trees in my dad's partner's lawn. And my dad ended up calling me later that day and said that his partner said that she saw him outside on the lawn looking like he was crying. looking like he was just sad and down and stuff like that. And my dad was like, what happened between y'all? She told me that, she saw him in the lawn today and he was looking like he was, crying or whatever. And I was like, I broke up with him. He betrayed me. He's a traitor, And my dad was like, well, whatever happened, he probably feels like he can't come back from this. And I was like, he probably can't. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, broke up with him, kicked him out my apartment. Then his family started coming for me and calling me a liar and saying this and that. So I started coming at them too, because what do you think this is? I was coming at them. Then one of his sisters was talking about coming to my house and fighting me and stuff. Talking about what's her address? What's her address? I'm like, girl, you've been in my house like 8 times. You know where the fuck I live. Like, cut it out. Like doing all these empty threats. I was getting text messages from random numbers like, watch yourself when you sleep tonight and all this weird stuff. I wasn't scared even for a second. Okay, I wasn't scared for a second. I was ready for all the smoke. They don't know me like that. They don't know me like that. So yeah, like, and after that, the girl, right, the sister wife, the one that basically tried to make me feel comfortable for opening up to her and all this stuff, and then sent our text messages to him and weaponized it. She was basically antagonizing me online for like literally the next like 8 months. So she is a self-proclaimed whatever tarot card reader, right? And I just had a feeling because she was already trying to make me the villain in the relationship, right? And like kind of like going against me. So when me and him broke up, she was posting him all over her page and stuff like that, like posting pictures of them, like finally they can be together. You know what I'm saying? Like post like there was like coming out or something. But he wasn't coming out with her because, honey, he never posted her ever. Not even once. Not even on her birthday. Okay? Kept her a secret the whole time. But she was posting him this first day and she was like basically calling me a liar and stuff like that and saying he never touched me. He never abused me. I was there. I'm like, are you dumb, stupid, or slow? I've seen you in person 4 times, all but 4 times. Me and him were in a relationship for 2 years before we knew you even existed. So she's calling me a liar and stuff like that. So after the fact, I'm like, okay, so she's fueling this. Okay, cool. This is supposed to be that super soft, feminine, spiritual girl, right? Now she's online, posting him on her page, whatever, to make it seem like, they can finally be together, just the 2 of them, right? So she ends up taking off all those pictures off her page. I'm thinking he told her to take it off, right? Because bitch, calm down. And she was on her YouTube channel disguising her gossiping and talking about me as tarot card readings, right? So she would be like, let's say she would do a video about Aquarius. I'm an Aquarius and my ex was a Virgo. And all the Aquarius videos, it would be all negative, right? It would be like, oh, I feel like Aquarius, you're a clout chaser and, you need to let go of this connection because you weren't a good fit for this person and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what tarot card reader on YouTube talks smack about a certain zodiac sign? Like, you can't even hide your low vibrational mess. You can't even hide it. You have so much disdain toward me for no reason. I did nothing to you. All I did was break up with this fool, right? And post online 1% of what he did to me. I didn't even really say what he did. I didn't say the time where he punched my windshield and smashed my windshield. I didn't say when he was angry and he slammed on my brakes and ruined my brakes and couldn't pay for it for like 3 months. I didn't say how, oh, when he smashed my windshield, I didn't mention how he couldn't pay for that for like 6 months straight, and my brother had to send me the money, which I still have the invoice for. I didn't say online how he used to put his hands on me and put his hands around my neck and put his hands on my face and how he scratched my face. I didn't say none of that. All I said was he was abusive and that he tried to hold me back. And she was already talking about some, oh, I'm a liar, this, I'm a liar, that. I didn't see that. So yeah, so once again, back to these fake ass tarot card videos, right? Once you click her, and mind you, they're still online. You can still go and see this stuff. And mind you, it's only two. Like, go down and you will see the Aquarius videos and the Virgo videos. In her Virgo videos, she would be like, oh, Virgo, I just feel like you have an ex from your recent past that is obsessed with you and that can't get over you, and she's jealous of you, and she's jealous of your new relationship. Like, literally projecting. Literally, like, how did you even get that storyline from this spread? How did you even get that storyline from this spread? You know what I'm saying? It was like, obviously she was projecting her feelings into the reading, like completely tainting the reading. Like, even though you only get like 35 views per video, at least those 35 people can get a genuine reading from you. You're so miserable and you're so hateful and you're in such a competition with me, you can't even give your 35 viewers a genuine reading. So she's like, oh, Virgo, talking to the camera, I just feel like you have an ex that can't get over you and that is, using you for clout and that blah, 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 blah. So, and mind you, y'all, this was going on for 8 months. 8 months. And I'm so confused in my mind. I'm like, if you supposedly got the guy, if you got the supposed prize, why are you still attacking me? Why are you still going at me? Aren't you happy you and him can be together now? Aren't you happy that I'm out the picture? Isn't that what you always wanted? Why are you still attacking me? So, I was not only, was I betrayed, not only was I legitimately the victim in this situation, but this girl is literally kicking me when I'm down for 8 months. You have the guy. What more do you want? You have the prize. Why are you still antagonizing little old me? Right? So, throughout this whole situation, I'm trying to find peace, right? So some days I hate them. Some days I'm in this, vibration of acceptance. Sometimes I want to make peace. Sometimes I want revenge. My emotions were up and down for like a whole year. So tell me why, right? I end up having a conversation with her. Well, first I called her out on my YouTube channel because she would not stop antagonizing me, right? So we ended up exchanging words through text messages, which started out as like a back and forth, like an argument, right? But then, like, as we were going back and forth, because this literally went on all day, as we were going back and forth, there were moments of realness, like sprinkled in that conversation, right? It was like moments of truth. I don't know why she felt comfortable enough to tell me certain things, but she did. But like I said, it's divine. It was divine for me to know this, right? So during our literally like a 20-hour long back and forth text message argument or whatever, but at some points we would be getting along, which was so weird. And then we would start arguing again after, she say something that triggered me, it would go back and forth again. But she ended up telling me in those messages, number one, she was like, she asked me what was his temperament like when y'all were together. And I said he had anger issues, like I told you he did, right? And when he gets drunk, it gets even worse, right? Tell me why this girl said, yeah, I feel like he's still struggling with that. Oh, oh, miss, well, have you told him to stop drinking? Let me guess. Y'all been together for about 6 months now and he didn't stop drinking? Oh, don't tell me you couldn't work your magic healer, spell on him to get him to stop drinking. You couldn't be his healer? You couldn't be his savior? You mean to tell me that he's still drinking and still having outrages? Oh, okay. I didn't say that, but I was thinking it, of course. She's like, yeah, I feel like he still suffers with that and he has a problem with, his temperament. Then this girl tells me, I be cussing him out. That's what she said. She said, I be cussing his ass out. I was like, bruh, this girl is telling me too much tea. Do she not know I will literally flip on you at any moment? But thank you for this tea. I will turn on you at any moment because I still don't like you. But thank you for this tea. She's like, yeah, I be cussing him out, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like saying something like, because she was trying to call me controlling, right? And I was like, oh, so I was trying to control him because, I let him have another girlfriend. I was like, I bet you won't let him have another girlfriend though. Miss, I'm controlling, right? And she was like, I will never let him be polygamous. She was like, he didn't earn that. I was like, y'all, my jaw dropped to the floor. I'm like, normally, right? If you feel like you took someone's man, you would at least try to make it seem like y'all are good. You know what I'm saying? You would at least try to allude to the fact that, he's treating me better than he treated you, or, our relationship is great. But she was literally telling me she'd be cussing him out and that she would never let him be polygamous because he don't deserve it. I'm like, okay. So in my mind, that was divine confirmation that, girl, ain't nothing to see here. Don't even think about being jealous or envious about their relationship or them running off together because they're going through the same thing, if not worse. You already fighting for your life, sis? You already fighting for your life? Damn. So also, she says, a part of me wishes y'all never broke up, but I can never say that. I didn't want to seem too thirsty, in that moment. I really wanted to ask her, why you say that? Why you say that? But I wanted to keep it cordial. I wanted to keep it real cool because I don't want her to make it seem like, I don't want to make it seem like I was like snooping and trying to like get answers out of her. So I just let her talk. She was like, yeah, a part of me wishes y'all never broke up, but I can never say that, right? So we ended up talking, whatever, the rest of the night, whatever. So the next day, I went to my dad and I told my dad about it. And I was like, why do you think she said that? And my dad was like, it sounds like she took on the brunt of their relationship. And she didn't realize what you were carrying on your back. Now that he's been living with her, because he is a hobosexual. And once he, left my apartment, he had to move in with her for like a whole year or whatever. And he was like, she probably realizes that she was enjoying only the good parts of him. And, when she only had him on weekends, she didn't realize how good she had it. So now that he's up under her every day and probably venting to her, honestly, 24/7, because, he himself is healing from a breakup and healing from a heartbreak. She's probably over here trying to help him heal, trying to talk smack about me to make him feel more, vindicated in the outcome and stuff like that. They're probably, I probably have so much energy invested in their relationship still that, her resentment for me was just it just continued to grow. That's why even though she ran off with the man and she got the prize, she was still antagonizing me for almost a year after that. Why am I still on your mind, sis? Why? You have the nigga. You got the nigga. Why are you still antagonizing me? Didn't I lose? Didn't I lose him? You know? So yeah, my dad was like, it was probably funner when she was hanging out with him every weekend, not when he was, you know, now he's directing his anger onto her. Now that he's directing his frustrations onto her, now she's dealing with it. And I was just like, whoa. Whoa. You know, so, you know, long story short, I learned that I learned to trust the journey that I was on. And if that guy wasn't a good fit for me for 101 reasons, I should trust that. And if there was ever a moment, a split moment where I even was envious of them running off together, I was reminded why to not even stump what they had going on. I was reminded, I was revealed things from the universe. You know what I'm saying? No, boo, this has been the long version of this story. I was reminded, you know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't missing nothing over there. I ain't missing a mother thing over there. And, you know, like, I don't mean to, you know, be Sally the Snooper, Sarah the Stalker, or nothing like that. But, you know, I was looking at her page every now and then after that, you know, a couple months later. And just like how she was projecting in her tarot card readings about me, she started projecting about their relationship. Like, oh, like she'll be doing like a reading, like a random reading, but like in the middle of the reading, she'll be like, well, you know, personally, I just want a man that's not abusive and that, you know, can respect me and that lets me lead sometimes and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, damn, he doing her dirty. Damn. He doing her the same exact way. She'll be in her readings projecting about their relationship, and then like a couple months later, like she would post stuff like no love lost, only lessons, or I learned my lesson, or, you know, this year I'm spending my birthday by myself, or like, you know, like breakup type stuff, like, you know, just sad stuff, you know, on her page. And a part of me just wants to like rub it in so bad. Like, girl, you thought. But I had to ask myself, you know, what more do I want? Like, I wanted him to get his karma, right? But the karma was already me leaving his ass. Like, that should have been enough. I was adding so much value to his life. That really should have been the end of the conversation. But not only did I break up with him, I kicked him out my apartment, right? Then I blasted him online. Then him and the girl's relationship didn't even last. Like, what more do I want? You know, then I had to start looking within myself. Like, you know, okay, Zakia, like, he had the karma. Like, what more do you want? Like, are you not going to be satisfied till he's dead or something? So I had to look within myself, too. Like, why isn't this resentment subsiding? You know, why do I feel like he can never be punished enough? You know what I'm saying? Like, the thing that I wanted to happen so bad which was his relationship with her not being successful. Even that happened, and I still wasn't satisfied with the revenge. That's when I had to, once again, I had to go within myself. Zakia, what more do you want? What more do you want? When are you going to be satisfied? When are you going to be happy? You know? And then, even if he dropped dead, I still might be mad. You know what I'm saying? That I didn't get an apology or something, or accountability. So I had to be like, you know what? At this point, I have an issue with myself. You know, he already got the karma that I wanted him to get. He already, you know, got what I felt like he deserved. You know, their relationship didn't end up nearly, you know, what she thought it was going to end up being, or probably even what he thought it was going to be, you know? So at this point, now you just have to ask yourself, what will make you happy with this situation? Where does your closure come from? You know what I'm saying? When are you going to look at your life and be like, you know what? I'm so happy and satisfied with my life that I don't even care what they have going on, good or bad. So, you know, after, you know, she started posting single stuff or whatever, or they're probably, I don't even know what's going on with them. They probably, that relationship is probably so tumultuous. Who even knows? But, you know, I had to really ask myself, what more do I want from this situation, you know? And I guess I was still desiring an apology or some type of accountability, you know? And now that I know, and I've been knew that I'm never going to receive that, you know, I have to really come into acceptance about that and, you know, start looking at things differently, you know? So then I started, you know, I guess having more understanding, not compassion, because I don't have compassion for him and I don't have respect for him, but I have acceptance, you know? I've built my acceptance for the situation, I guess, and my understanding. Like how I mentioned in the beginning about his mom and his brother calling him gay for, you know, writing that poetry letter or, you know, cooking and stuff like that. Like I had to really like understand like what he was doing to me had nothing to do with me. You know, had nothing to do with me. It was not an attack against me. It was nothing personal against me. It was just him. It was him responding to the things that happened to him. You know, it was his experience, his perspective, you know, his trauma coming out, and it had nothing to do with me, you know. And yes, I still feel betrayed. I still feel just totally ran through the mud emotionally. Like there's so many things I'm still like resentful about. But at the same time, I'm just like, he has to live with that, not me. You know, I can move on from this situation with my aura, with my energy, with my creativity, my light, my drive, everything that I was adding to the relationship, I still have at least. Everything that I was pouring into him, I still have at least. You know, so I'm just gonna keep on going with my journey. You know what I'm saying? Okay, Kelly said that's acceptance, but that's also part of what compassion is. Oh, I guess so. It's like I hate to say that because it's like, ah! But you know, as time goes by, I guess I do. I guess I do have more compassion. Ah! But yeah. So yeah, now I'm just trying to pour into myself, you know, pour everything that I tried to, you know, pour into him, the ideas, the effort, trying to help him with content, trying to help him market himself as an artist, trying to get him business, making his business cards, you know, trying to just pour into him and hold him up on a pedestal. Like everything that I was pouring into him, you know, I'm pouring into myself now. I'm finally you know, back on my business grind. I'm going live more often. I created my courses. I literally made like 3 ebooks and like 4 courses in like 6 months. I was locked in. You know, ain't nothing like that post breakup turn up. What? Ain't nothing like that post breakup turn up. Like you turn into a Super Saiyan. Okay? I was definitely in my Super Saiyan bag. And I never stopped living. I never stopped traveling. You know, I never stopped meeting people. I just never stopped my life. And even though it was hard going out to eat by myself and it was hard living after that, because everywhere I went I couldn't even enjoy myself. Like I would go to like Atlanta Station by myself after that situation and try to enjoy myself, like just a solo dolo, you know, date for myself, and I would just be so miserable. You know, I would go into my car early and just cry. You know, I went through so much pain, you know, after that breakup, and I would wake up a lot of days with a tight chest. Um, my heart would just hurt, you know. I was crying uncontrollably. You know, my dad had to comfort me a lot during that time, and on top of that, I had this girl antagonizing me online. Like, I just feel like that situation, I don't see anyone that really could have handled that the way that I did. I really don't. Like there was so many things I could have done. I could have been so much I could have been so much crazier. You know what I'm saying? Like situations like that, people are end up on first 48 when they go through situations like that. You know what I'm saying? And like I'm just proud of myself for continuing to move forward. And y'all see Kelly in the chat. She was helping me with my emotions, with my understanding of the situation. She was helping me just spiritually. You know, we had a conversation at a park one day, and she was just like really explaining things on a molecular level, like very objective level, you know. And she reminded me why things happened the way they did and why everything was divine. And as long as I left that situation learning more about myself, a win is a win. You know, because you know it is what it is. God bless your dad. If a man isn't like him, he's not for you. For real. For real. I'm not gonna lie. You know, my dad, he was drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit, but that's only because he was being manipulated, you know. Um, but yeah, so whew, this story time, I knew this was gonna be super long. I knew it. That's why it took me so long to record this, because I'm like, I'm gonna have to make like 10 parts to this. But today I just wanted to get it out because it's been bubbling inside of me since it happened. And I just want to let girls know that, you know, I will never question a girl when it comes to narcissistic abuse, because when you leave a relationship with no scars, no bruising, no scratches, people think that, oh, it wasn't that bad. You know, he didn't do that much to you. You know, clearly you wasn't abused as much as you say you was. You know, just because you don't have those physical marks, people downplay your experience. Or people say, well, it doesn't seem like he would do something like that, you know, and I can understand how invalidating that can feel. And I'm just, you know, letting all the girls know that has been through that and that has been manipulated, been mentally abused, physically abused, you know, emotionally abused, you know, that I'm on your side. And if no one else is really taking your perspective and really agreeing with you, I agree with you. And I understand what it's like. I understand what it's like for people to downplay your experience. I understand what it's like for people to completely think you're lying. I understand what it's like for people to be like, well, or your friends still hanging out with him talking about something. Well, he didn't do anything to me, or it didn't seem like he would do something like that. I know what that's like. And it literally makes you hate the world. it makes you hate the world. And I just want to, just say that people don't know what they don't know. And it's not their lesson to learn. And if or when they go through the same thing, now you can choose whether to have compassion for that person or not when it's your turn to comfort that person. You know what I'm saying? Because people learn different lessons at different times. People think that they'll never go through something, or they're too high vibrational to even experience something until it happens to them. And at one point, when they were calling you a liar and downplaying your experience, now all of a sudden, they're venting to you about their abuse and their narcissistic story and stuff like that. So, things make a full circle. And I just want to remind you that being having your feelings and your experiences invalidated is such an infuriating feeling. I swear, it makes you want to turn your back on everyone. It makes you want to turn your back on everyone. But just understand that no one was in your shoes at that time. No one can fathom what you've been through. That lesson wasn't for them to understand. That lesson wasn't for them to, you know what I'm saying, to understand. Like, if they're not validating you as much as you feel like they should, it's only because they see it either from a higher perspective, like, girl, you shouldn't have been messing with that nigga anyway. Like, hello, move on. Or they just don't understand. You know what I'm saying? And it's fine. It's not for them to understand. The lesson was for you. The lesson was for you to love yourself. The lesson was for you to learn how to control your emotions. The lesson was for you to learn self-respect and learn boundaries. The lesson was for you. It wasn't for them to understand. And if they're not validating you or, making you feel heard or seen, just pay it dust, because technically that's not even their job to do that. And if they agree, or they take the side of your abuser, whatever, then just distance yourself from them, because being around them may trigger you and stuff like that. Distance yourself from them, and you don't have to associate with people that don't have your back, or that don't, you know what I'm saying, like, that don't believe you or agree with you or whatever. Like, you don't have to. Like, you're not forced to be around people like that. You don't have to, So, yeah. All right, I'm gonna read this comment. Okay, so Kelly said, I felt like I needed to stay here and hold space and remind you that you said this is the final time you're talking about this online. I love you, Zakia. Thank you. And what's crazy? I've done so many lives, and I don't think you've attended my other lives, but I think it's such a blessing that you just, for some reason, decided to just tune into this live, because everything is so divine. Oh my gosh, everything is so divine. I swear. I'm so glad you made it to this live. Because you know more, than a lot of people. Like, you know more and you understand more, and from an unbiased perspective, and you still validate me in certain ways and validate my experience and stuff like that. And I appreciate that. So I'm just grateful. So, all right, you guys, I'm gonna wrap this baby up, and I appreciate y'all for tuning in. It was divine, I agree. Yes. I appreciate y'all for tuning in, and once again, people will try to silence you. People will try to fearmonger you into not speaking out in order to protect their reputation. People will try to stop you from doing anything. They will go to any length other than apologize to you. They will go through any length to try to get you to not speak on a situation. But They just refuse to take accountability, you know? So, you know, it's a lot of evilness in this world. There's a lot of unhealed people in this world, and it just is what it is. But, you know, take your lessons, keep your head up, you know, keep your chest out, and understand that everything happens for you, not to you. Okay, it's happening for you. It's happening for you. It's character development. It's boundaries. It's self-respect. It's self-love. You know, whatever didn't destroy you only made you stronger. All right. So I will see y'all in the next live. And once again, thank you for my color idea. I'm probably gonna do another poll for another color next week. So if you're not subscribed to my channel already, make sure you go ahead and do that. Turn on your notifications, and I'll see y'all next time.